everyone. Hi. Welcome back to Genially EdFest. Welcome back to those who have been with us Monday and Tuesday. This is day, I was going to say 2. This is day 3. Can't believe it.
We're
Final day of EdFest.
Still holding up.
Day 3, teaching for our future. And
Yes.
Erica, today we're going to look at cool topics, as always. Today is about inclusive teaching practices, creative video learning, and how to teach student skills that will have them ready for the future, the world that is changing
cool
so quickly.
So excited.
And, well, as always, please say hi if you're joining now in the chat.
Yes.
Let us know where you're joining from.
Oh, Joanna from Malaga.
Hello,
my gosh,
Joanna.
my grandparents used to live there. Bogota, Colombia. We have who else do we have here?
Our
Florida,
first presenter is already in here. Hi, Jaritza.
Kathy from Florida. I wish I was there right now. It's actually getting cold now here in New England.
No kidding.
Here in Boston. Fugle Fun. Trisha's here. Hello from Illinois.
Trisha.
Yes. Utah. Donna Brown. Nice.
Jan, you're back. Hi from Pennsylvania.
Hey, Jan. And Van.
Also back.
Too bad she wasn't here for trivia yesterday. I'm just kidding, honey. Hello.
Love seeing her on social media. All those posts are awesome.
Christy from Georgia.
Hi, Christy.
Utah. Donna. Nice. Pennsylvania. You already said that. Let's see.
Hey, Conchi, day 3. Woohoo! Love that energy.
One of our presenters. She's awesome. We love
Cannot
her.
wait for that session.
I know. I just love her.
Hi, Janice.
Burr. Yeah, Janice, I know. I'm
cold.
freezing.
Janice, how cold is it right now in New Hampshire? Because where I am, it's not that cold yet. I will see your answer a few seconds from now, but I am curious to know what kind of
here. Hello, love.
Hey, Conchi.
Yay.
Well, who are we? If you don't know yet, I am Ailey Lichny. I'm here at Genially, where I work as the U.S. country manager focused on education.
I am Erica Sandstrom, the grateful co-host, who is a digital media teacher, digital learning coach, and has a huge passion for mindfulness, teaching students and educators. But most of all, I am known as Green Screen Gal. Yeah, somebody dubbed me that, and
there's a reason.
Go to my page, you'll see why.
There's a reason. There's the green screen. We love it.
There it is.
And so, saying hi, Beth from Montreal. Hi, Jennifer.
Arizona. Oh, I love Arizona. I want to go down to Sedona.
Kelly.
Jennifer.
Christy, you're back. Freezing in Georgia. So cold. Janice, not too bad. So it's not that cold in New Hampshire.
My sister lives in the Blue Ridge Mountains, in the town of Blue Ridge. Yeah.
Cool.
Soon to be covered, Western New York, Jamestown, New York. Dan. Hi, Dan.
You know, it's so cool to see familiar names and faces. I feel like I'm starting to get to know more of the members of the community, which is awesome. And so as you all know, yesterday we talked about gamification, how to gamify our classes and take a lot of the lesson material that you already have and just flip it into something new, make it new. And it was probably my favorite day so far. Don't get me wrong, SEL day was amazing. I love the mindfulness activities. No, not because of the topic though. Well, I also love the topic, but because as a presenter, yesterday was really fun because Erica and I played some friendly pranks on one another.
Yes, we did play some friendly pranks and
but I was really nervous.
That was a lot of fun. I'm exhausted because it was so much fun. We laughed a lot. I don't know.
Yeah, and if you missed either day or had to join late because of your schedule, time zone, whatever reason, we will be sharing those recordings. Oh, they're already there. Amazing. We are sharing those recordings in the chat now.
Yes, and someone from Montreal is here now. Also, to receive the full recordings of all 3 days and the links to all presentations that were given and the resources, you can get that through the newsletter that will go out to everyone registered for the event. So make sure you register if you haven't done so yet.
Yes, please. And if you haven't done that by filling out a really short form, be sure to do that. Look, there's the link in the chat to do that. And before we jump into a very fun, cool App Smash demo that Erica has prepared for us, we want to remind you of our prize draw.
Yes, prizes. So make sure are you pulling that up or am I?
I am. I'm getting there.
Yeah. I'm like fixing hairs. I just got home from work.
Day three. Here we go.
Day three. We're going to do this. So you definitely want to enter for these prizes, win them EDU Pro Plan, share takeaway screenshots of sessions on social media with hashtag Genially EdFest, and make sure you tag presenters, tag Eiley and I, and enter your prize draw for the EDU Pro Plan. So we'll be watching through the whole live today
We
and
see all of your posts.
last night too, and picking some fun winners.
Yeah, I have seen every tweet, every post on Facebook. I love seeing them. Please keep them coming. It's great to see what you're learning and see all the enthusiasm. It means a lot. And one more thing before we jump into Erica's awesome App Smash demo. Participation certificates for 8 hours are available for the event, and we'll be sharing them in the chat at the end of today, where you can download your certificate. And if you register for the event, again, you'll also be sent the link afterwards.
Also, I think we also have a big discount code we can share at the end of the day as well. Is that right?
Yes, we do. Yes, we
Excellent.
do. Like big, really good. Stick around for that as well. Okay, friend.
Yes.
So, what is this awesome app smashing activity you have for us today?
Well, I am so excited. And I wish I could watch the chat box at the same time because I'm not sure they're here, but the owners of DoWink green screen app might actually be in the chat box. I know Trisha is here though, and she is my green screen sister partner in green screen crime. It's a thing.
If you're here, say
Um,
hi.
yeah. So it's no secret that I am clearly obsessed with the DoWink green screen app. I feel like every person on this planet needs to have this app. I wish every classroom had a bunch of iPads, and if not, write a grant. But anyway, this is one of the best app smashes to work with Genially and DoWink. And I want to show you today something really cool and fun. So you can go ahead and show my screen.
Here
And
we
let me tell you
go.
where we're headed. So, I thought that would go full screen. Let's see. Oh, that's right. We're doing window. Okay. So this is an example of something that you can do. My students right now, we're actually in the middle of this project. We're not even finished yet, but they are sharing some places around the world where they have studied and hope to visit one day. So as you can see here, we have the Leaning Tower of Pisa. We have Australia. She's down there surfing and snorkeling here. And he's off to Hawaii and he's going swimming.
This is so
And
fun.
I know, isn't it cute? It's so
So
cute.
cool, Erica.
And these are middle schoolers, so the fact that they did it. And on this slide, we have the ones in the car too. They're so funny. And here we have some more examples of where, as you can see, the students are inside or above here, their actual posts. So what I will be showing you for to bring DoWink in is how to create GIFs or GIFs that are transparent that can go anywhere that GIFs are supported. I mean, you can bring them everywhere. And this is one of my favorite places to bring them. So we're going to watch a video on how to create this in DoWink, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how I do it.
Here we go.
Okay. One of my favorite apps on this planet is the DoWink green screen and animation app. This app has features in it that are so unique, including being able to create GIFs or GIFs with transparent backgrounds. It's magical because you can bring these to any other program and app smash them, and the transparency will stay. So let me show you how it's done. You open the DoWink app and click the plus sign in the upper right corner, Create New Project. It doesn't really matter which row you use for this unless you have multiple layers of GIFs. The plus sign and grab a video from the green screen that we have created. So now I'm going to turn the chroma key back on so I can adjust the green. So she had a little bit of shadow, so let's go ahead and fix that. But also to crop out the real world, go ahead and click on the crop tool and grab the little corners, little yellow corners, and drag it in. And what's so great about this is you can film really far away, which is so powerful, especially if you have full body footage. And then click Done. From here, go ahead and center and make sure she's going to fit on your screen before you export it. Up here at the top, there's a gear symbol. Kind of looks like a sun too. Go ahead and click on that. And as you can see, it says media type, video, image, or GIF. Output resolution is usually on medium automatically, but you can change it to whatever you'd like. Some programs might not support huge GIFs, but most do. Then click on GIF or GIF and click Done. That's simple. And then I'm going to click Export GIF. This now has a transparent background. So go ahead and save it. And on your own iPad or iPhone, you can set up where you'd like things saved. I'm just going to save it right on my iPad and click Done. I will now take this GIF or GIF elsewhere to have some fun. One of my favorite apps on this planet. Okay, so as you can see, it's a lot of fun, and it's very simple to make these. It really is, and I even use my iPhone. So get your DoWink app. It's $5. It's the best $5 you ever spend, and they're incredible people. There's 3 people that own the company, and they are so wonderful. So it also has masking, people masking, which is remove background in there, and lots of other features. Even there is a way to create videos that can have transparent backgrounds. But so anyway, this is the fun we were having, and I want to show you what we did here. So for example, he went to the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And if you click on his little symbol here.
The Leaning Tower of Pisa, or simply the Tower of Pisa, is the campanile or freestanding bell tower of Pisa Cathedral. It is known for its nearly 4-degree lean, the result of an unstable foundation.
Okay, and then he is still working on his video. And plus we have other things to add to this that are not on here yet, but it's very easy to add a video. And also over here to the right is more info on his report. So there's so many options of things you can do. So let's go into Genially, and I want to show you real quickly how this works. So when you search for a template, I just put in map, and they have so many maps, so many maps. You can even add maps to the maps. So I chose Blackboard World Map because I really loved this template. I thought it was so cool. And what's neat is there's so much already set up for you. So as you can see here, these little side things are already set up in the template. So the kids can just replace the information or add more, and lots of other options. We will be showing a little more later. And then here you have the pictures, which is easy to replace, and the pins that match that. But we took it a lot further by adding the GIFs. So over here on the left, let's go ahead and click image. And I'm going to bring up an image of one of my students. Here's our Leaning Tower guy. And click on that and bring him in. And as you can see, it's pretty large window around him. So you have to make sure that you crop that, because when we add some other things, you don't want it to block your links. So let's just shrink him down for now. We're just going to pretend this is the Leaning Tower here. And I would replace that. Then what you can do too, and what my students did, is they went in and grabbed some interactive elements. So I told them they were going to be adding a window with a video. So they put in video, and then we grabbed their little icon that they wanted, plus showed them you can change the colors. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun things you can do. And in here, I had them go in to either add a link or even a window, which I think is cooler because then the video pops up right inside here. So insert video. I actually have a video ready to go. I went to Iceland this summer, and one of the places that we went got famous because Justin Bieber went there. I don't know if you've heard this or watched this video, but it's so cool. It's real. I will put all of these slides and demos in my slideshow as well. So they have the video right here. So, and then the next thing they did is they put a voice memo in. So we're going to put voice. Do that. And grab an icon. And then this is so cool. When you click on this and you go here, you click on audio, click record right inside, right here. So let's give it a try. Leaning Tower of Pisa is overrated. I've been there twice. It's very crowded, but it is very cool. And you should go see it. Is that bad? I took students there. Okay, stop talking. Worst recording ever. So then here's your recording. Leaning Tower of Pisa is overrated. Let's go ahead and accept it. And then when we click on preview, there you go. But before, one thing that you should have the kids be careful of if they're going to be putting all this close together, click on their GIF and click crop. And they can just crop down their picture. They can even link it to things. I mean, it's endless possibilities what you can do with this. So back into this on page 2, real quickly, we had some more students who ended up creating GIFs where their feet weren't showing. So you can put them inside there. And these girls just wanted to come up from behind their picture. So lots and lots of fun. I hope I didn't forget anything, Eiley.
Amazing. That was an amazing live demo. I don't think so. I think you got it all in there.
All right. Sounds good.
So cool. Such a cool project. Please try this in your classes.
And I'll make sure people get this.
Let's get into our first session of the day with Flip Educator Innovation Lead, Jaritza Villalba. This woman is honestly a force of nature and so, so kind. And I couldn't be more excited to have her with us. So get ready for an awesome session with Jaritza on increasing student creativity with Flip and Genially. All right, take it away.
Okay, so let me share my screen. I am so happy to see everyone. So welcome to Increasing Student Creativity with Flip and Genially. I am super excited to be here with all of you, and I'll introduce myself shortly, but I just want to remind everyone that please post on social, post all of your learning, and you can tag us at Microsoft Flip and also at Genially, and you can use the hashtag Genially EdFest and hashtag #AskSharitza. What's really cool about the hashtag #AskSharitza is that once I see it, I know that you have a question or a comment, and I'll be able to answer those questions and comments. So if you put anything in the chat and I miss it, don't worry, post on social, hashtag #AskSharitza, and I got you covered. With that being said, hi, again. My name is Jaritza Villalba, and I am one of the Educator Innovation Leads at Flip. My focus is all of you, but more specifically, my focus is cultural and linguistic diversity. And what that is, it's being culturally responsive. It's really looking at professional development, looking at curricula, looking at schools' goals and missions, and figuring out how does this tie into equity or diversity, and trying to create ways to support all of you in all of the phenomenal ways that you are empowering students around the world. So once again, share your learning on social using the hashtag #AskSharitza. I'll be able to follow it, whether if it's on Instagram, LinkedIn, or even Twitter. And you can find me at INC_YV. Welcome. So I know some of you are still coming in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As I mentioned, my name is Jaritza Villalba. It's pronounced Jaritza Villalba, and I'm one of the Educated Innovation Leads at Flip. So Flip, we have this mission that I hold near and dear and true to my heart, and it's to make learning fun and empowering for everyone. As an educator, I taught history for 11 years to overage undercredited students. And the fun aspect was the part that I was always searching for. And what I realized was fun looks different in so many ways, right? For me, it was if a student who struggled in reading and in comprehension read one complete sentence and he or she smiled at me at the end, that is fun. To others, it may have been with them playing on the Promethean board and trying to figure out ways to, use MapQuest or even Google Maps, and just exploring. Now, it means empowering students to make connections with whatever it is that we're teaching and whatever it is that we're introducing in a way where it connects to their life's experiences, their interests, and who they are as individuals. So, and I know some of the light bulbs are going off in your mind and you're thinking, well, hey, that's culturally responsive teaching. And I want to say, yes, that is culturally responsive teaching. And the mission is to make learning fun and empowering for everyone. So throughout this entire session, I want you to think of fun and I want you to honestly emphasize empowerment. So for those of you who've never heard of Flip before, Flip is a social learning platform. We are social learning. Think of all of the ways in which your students are engaging with communities outside of the classroom, whether if it's on TikTok, whether if it's on LinkedIn, whether if it's on Instagram, and think about a safe way for students to do that. Did you receive your answer yet? You got that right. That is Flip. And what I actually included here are 3 examples of how I use Flip outside of the classroom. If you're tuning into this session right now and you follow me on Twitter, you also know I use Flip with my daughter, my 15-month-old daughter, Mackenzie. From the time I was pregnant to now, I constantly post videos of first steps and her first time trying certain foods. And even I used Flip as a pregnancy journal to express how I felt in the morning, whether if it's morning sickness or I gained some weight or I felt sad. And so when she's getting older, she's able to not only see photos of how I may have looked, but she's able to interact with the videos of me expressing how I looked and how I felt. Other topics that you can use outside of the classroom is family recipe, which is educators from all over the world are engaging in sharing recipes for cooking. Guess what? You can also do this with your students. Our cultural backgrounds are all different. And honestly, in some cases are very diffused, right? So culture diffusion, that idea of 2 cultures or more than one culture just trading different customs and traditions and embedding them into one. And that's what we all experience. And so you could even do this in your classroom and you can help students become more culturally aware of their classmates, their peers, and other families. Parenting Around the World is another group that I've used. Remember, we're talking about creativity today, right? As a first-time mom, I wanted advice on certain things. And I knew that my traditions and customs as a Panamanian is not the only ones that exist. So I created a group, Creativity Sparked by Ideas. I created a group where I'm asking my Twitter peeps, my Twitter friends, hey, what are some things that you did different? How can I do this? How can I embed this into my practices with my daughter? And mindfulness. Speaking of practices, how are we centering ourselves? How are we self-reflecting? How are we holding ourselves accountable for taking the time out to just relax? So these are just 3 examples of how I've used Flip. I've also used Flip as a social studies teacher. I've also used Flip as an assistant principal. You can use it for announcements. You can do it for daily do now assignments. You can use it for exit slips. The list goes on. And hopefully today we get to touch on some of those examples. So let's do a quick check-in. Some of you have heard of the Microsoft Reflect Feelings Monsters, and you may have used them in Teams, but did you know that we actually have reflect activities in Flip Discovery? Well, if you didn't know, guess what? Now you know. And before I begin any session, I love doing a quick check-in. Check-ins, especially in and out of the classroom, allows you to understand what everybody is dealing with. And that way, you're not really emphasizing the student who's not raising their hand or whose head is down, because guess what? He or she told you how they felt from the beginning of the session, right? So this is our way of building relationships with our students and just understanding when things can be too traumatic, right? If you are just picking on them and picking on them and picking on them, but they had like the worst night of their lives. So this helps us to check in. And honestly, I want to check in on all of you. So how are you feeling today? So on a scale from 1 to 3. And as you all are putting this in the chat, I want to share that honestly, when I woke up this morning, I was at a 1. I was so at a 1, and not because I was sad or anything, but because I was confused. I knew I had about 12 things to do today on my to-do list and also in my planner, right? Mindfulness, I always keep a planner, but I just didn't know what. And I didn't know where to start. So I guess that's definitely confusion, right? But now that I begin this session, I'm definitely at a 3. Like, can you tell? I am at a 3. I feel wonderful because I get to share the power and the magic of Flip with all of you. So I'm seeing some answers in the chat. You can still continue, and I'll move on to the next slide. So for those of you who are new to Flip, and for those of you who've always used Flip, but you may just need recentering or refresher, let's get started with 3 easy steps. The first is to create a group. Your group is your community. I showed you my parenting group. I showed you my cooking group. I've also had a history group for my history students. I've had an advanced placement group for my advanced placement students. This is almost like the home, right? For that group. This is the basis. This is where all of the topics that you create for that group will be housed. You also have the power to control this group in a sense that you're responsible for inviting people that you want in this group, whether if it's your students, whether if it's parents, because you know you can use Flip for asynchronous meetings, right? Ha 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 ha. And you control it by entering either your school's email domain or Google Classroom. So it's totally up to you. The second, your topic. You can spark a discussion with your topic. Your topic is your theme for that specific activity. It can be cooking, it can be ecosystems, it can be World War II, it can be syllables, how to find adjectives versus nouns, it can be counting, it can be money, it can be whatever you want, it can be a debate. It's anything you want to ignite a conversation amongst the people within your community. And then your community is going to respond with their videos, and they get to be truly creative by adding GIFs and everything else in between. And this is how you really make learning fun. Last but not least, you're going to sit back like this, and you're going to watch the magic happen. Your community is going to engage with all the videos that's posted within that topic. They're then going to post their own videos in response, whether if it's in a comment or even a text. They're going to view it, they're going to leave feedback, and they're going to share it with each other. And what I love the most is that you, as the lead for this group, you can enable where people can actually like the videos. I've seen that my students loved when I enabled that feature. Okay, you got it? First step, create a group. Second, topic. Third, watch the magic happen. I want to see how many of you actually figured out what I just said and what I just did. So let's create and share Flip from anywhere and anytime. It's time to explore. So you're going to go to flip.com. And this is our homepage. Remember, share, discover, and most importantly, be you. If you're already a Flip user, you're going to click on login. If you're new, you're going to click on sign up. I'm going to click on log in because I'm already a Flip user. And this is going to take me to my homepage where I'll be able to see all of the groups that I've created. And then I'm able to sort it out according to the groups that I created or the groups that I've been invited to. And I love just having all the groups that I've created at the top. And you'll be able to do it by clicking on filter groups, which is right next to search groups. You can click on that and you can literally, and you see that I already have it picked out where it's groups I led. Okay, now I can talk about this forever. So instead of just talking about it forever, let's do this together. At the top right-hand corner, you're going to click on plus group, which is that pink button, and you're going to click on create a group. Today's topic is creativity. Creativity can be found in anything, whether if it's this professional development, whether if it's traveling and you're walking on the beach and you so happen to like walk across the seashell. To me, that's creativity all in itself, how animals can create this beautiful shell. You can create your own. What about hobbies? Whether you're a photographer, whether you cook, you golf, you water paint like my colleague Elizabeth and my other colleague Anne, who's now taking some classes on water painting. So I just clicked on hobbies and I'm going to name this group creativity with an exclamation mark. As you see, there's already a banner there that's pre-selected, but you can edit the theme to whatever it is that you want. So I like the confetti. So I'm just going to change it to that. And then the link on who can join, you can leave it at anyone with the link, or you could change it to only people you approve. What I realized, especially as a teacher who I had 38 to 42 students in each class, 5 classes a day, is that when you choose only people you approve, you have to approve every single student one at a time. But if you leave it at anyone with the link, any student with the link can join. And if you want to minimize them sharing that link with outsiders, then you could actually minimize access by adding in a domain. So I'll just add 2 domains, schools.nyc.gov, because I used to work for the Department of Ed in New York. Gmail, even though Gmail may be someone's school domain or not. But what this means is that, yes, anybody can join with the link, but only people who have the domain in their email as Gmail or schools.nyc.gov would have total access to the group. Which means, once again, the link can be public, but if you want only your students to be able to access it, you can create and type in that domain and add it there. And that means only the students who have their domains, which is usually like your school's emails or school email domain, would have access to it. My Google Classroom users, here you go. You can sign into your Google Classroom account and import your roster. And I'll show you later how you can also connect this to your Google Classroom, meaning you can share out the link. So let's click on Create Group. And what you'll automatically see is that you can now share your group. The group is created. You can share it. You can share it in a QR code. So you can right-click this, copy it, and paste it, or you can right-click it and put it directly onto a piece of paper that you have if it's a Word doc, or you could just download it. It automatically saves, and you can add it to anything that you'd like. Your second option is to copy the link. So you click copy, the link is copied, and you can add that anywhere. But remember at the beginning when we were creating this group, we chose that anyone with the link can join. You have the option to change this, right? So you can change it to only people you approve can join. And that's totally fine. I'm going to change it back to anyone with the join link, even though we're not going to use this particular group today. You have the option to share this group on Google Classroom. When I use Google Classroom with my students, this is how I shared our groups. But I also use Teams with professional development. since my school had the choice to use both Microsoft and Google, that's how we did it. And so I shared my professional development groups with teachers using Teams. And then if it's something for your Twitter peeps like me and my cooking group and parenting group, you can share it out directly on Twitter. It'll post and your friends will be able to now join. What I love about creating a group is that once you create the group, you'll see that you have at least 3 topics that have been pre-populated for you. And so for this particular groups under hobbies, 3 topics that were populated was a weekly check-in, general, and introductions. And if you click on it, you'll see that it automatically prompts an activity. So a space to introduce yourself to the group. How do you pronounce your name? You can always make changes to this, right? You can always change this by clicking on, the 3, I always call this the more options button, and you're going to click edit topic. You can change this to anything. Usually I change it to hello, I am ... That was a lot more dots than I intended on. And then I'll change this whole thing to express yourself. You can change the topic media. So I usually delete whatever's there because you want this to be unique, but also you want this to be relevant to who your students are. If your students see something that has nothing to do with your class, then they're more likely to be disengaged, as opposed to you probably uploading a video or using a Bitmoji, GIF, or sticker. So I'm going to use a GIF. And I'm just going to put express yourself. And I love this one. So bam, you're going to change the recording time to however amount of time you believe a person should be allowed it for this activity. Remember, you know your students best. Because I'm only asking people to express themselves, I'm going to leave it at 30 seconds. What you'll also notice is that there's a settings button. You can click settings. You can activate the topic if you're ready for people to just go in, join the group, join a topic, and begin recording. You can make it view only, where it's almost like you're giving someone the heads up that that topic exists, but you are not ready for anyone to answer it yet. Or you can hide it. Hiding it means no one sees it but you. You can also create a start date and an end date for it. I usually just leave this blank. And important, you can moderate the videos in the topics in the comments, which means only you get to see the videos that the students submit for this particular topic. You can allow for closed captioning in so many different languages, from English to German to Italian to French to Spanish, you choose. And then you also have a choice on how other students or your colleagues are going to leave comments, whether if it's video and text, text only, video only, I'll put video only. And then everything else, I usually just leave it because it allows for you to see how many people viewed the video or how many people liked it. You can change this if you like, if you don't want a view count or a video count. And then I always allow attachments and links because this is a way for your students to also build a portfolio. And so what happens if you want them to create something about expression, and then your follow-up is provide a document or a book or a poem that discusses expressing yourself, they're able to attach that link at the end of their video as well. So let's save this. And voila, you've created a topic. Woo! All right. So we've explored Flip. This is just the beginning. Launch your Flip app on your cell phone and join the Flip group. Yes, you heard that right. We have a group just for today. So scan this QR code, or if you're using your laptop, go to flip.com/ed91d5dd and join us. Just going to give you guys some time to scan. Or to join in. Okay, I think we're ready. So I think it's time for us to go to our flip topic. So our flip group is Genially EdFest. So that's the first thing that you see when you pop up, Genially EdFest. You'll see 3 topics. There's a pushing all the buttons topic, there's a discovery topic, and there's a topic called Ask Yuritsa. With the Ask Yuritsa topic, this is our help center, meaning mine's and yours if you're tuning in. If you have any questions while I'm recording, or you don't want to put it into the chat because you feel like it's a dumb question, guess what? There's no such thing as dumb questions. But if you want a sense of privacy, this is a moderated topic, which means I'm only going to be the one to see these questions, and I'll answer one-to-one. So if you have any questions on resources that, I can recommend to you or your school, please feel free to do so here, or you can use the hashtag #AskYuritsa. So we're into this group, and of course, it's time for us to push all the buttons. If you're new to Flip, or even if you're not, this is how we're going to spark creativity. My colleague Ann Cosmo always says, push all the buttons. And I'm a firm believer that once you begin to push buttons, you begin to explore, right? You begin to explore all the endless possibilities that you have. So I'm going to go through this infographic that I created first, and then guess what? We're going to push the buttons. So once you actually go to a specific topic and you click on record, this screen will pop up, not with this exact image, but the screen of the camera. At the top, you'll see that you're able to move where you are in a video, especially when you're using virtual backdrops. You heard that right. Backdrops that move behind you while you're recording. I think it's so cool. On the left-hand side, you'll be able to see the topic description. So this is your way of, say, for instance, there was like 10 bullet points in a topic, which is a lot, and you forgot the last 5. You're able to click, and the menu drops down, and you're able to really see what else you're missing, right? So all of the other bullet points. On the right-hand side, you'll see that you have access to sticky notes. I love using sticky notes, especially when I'm recording short sessions, because I can create bullet points of reminders of what I need to say. You can also upload videos. So my students used to use TikTok videos, iMovie videos that they created. They created like comic book strips on Storyboard That. If you've heard of that before, that app, Storyboard That, another creative app. And they would create these comic book strips and they would upload it to Flip. They would trim it themselves. And in between each, they would talk. They would pause it. They would then show their face and they would explain what's going on within that comic. And then my favorite button, the 3 dots, the more options button. This is where you can share your screen. This is where you can mirror your video. I think it's just so cool. Below that, you have all the buttons for font, draw, stickers, GIFs, borders, board, or even if you want to insert a picture or an image. Am I going too fast? Let me pause for a second. Okay, in the middle of the screen, you have the record button. So down here where you see my mouse, To the right of that, you have the backdrops where you can choose the virtual backdrops or even regular backdrops. And to the left of that, you have filters. So if you want to make your video black and white or rainbow, or even Lego, you can change that. Sorry, pixel. And then below that, you have an option for mic only mode. Mic only mode is perfect for students who are not yet comfortable, or even adults, right? Because adults are not yet comfortable with showing their face either. And it allows you to hear their voice. And I love that option because not everybody wants to be in front of the camera, but everyone should have the opportunity to express themselves. Accessibility, creativity. With that being said, let's push all of the buttons. Let's push all the buttons. So in this activity, I want you to think about a time you were encouraged to be creative. Explore the flip camera features and record a video sharing what did you create, how did it make you feel, and what was your biggest takeaway. And if you didn't have a time where you were encouraged to be creative, guess what? Now's the time. I would love for you to create anything that comes to mind. Use color, express yourself, make anything that comes to mind within the flip camera and record yourself. So with that being said, let me go on to this group and let's push all the buttons. So we have 3 minutes max, as you can see at the bottom, 3 minutes max. And then I left a comment where it says, click the button with the book and speaker to access the Microsoft Immersive Reader and transform this text into preferred learning. How many of you have heard of Microsoft's Immersive Reader within Flip? You can put it in the chat. Okay, I'm going to pause on adding my response, and I want to show you all the magic of Immersive Reader. This is how you really encourage and inspire creativity. So the book and speaker is directly up on top of my topic image. So you're going to click here where it says Immersive Reader, and voila, you're going to see your text transform. And what do I mean by transformation, right? So as soon as your screen changes, you have the ability to have the text read out loud. This is perfect for your students, especially if they are visually impaired or if they just like read alouds. This is perfect. So,
radio button pushing all the buttons. Think about a time you were encouraged to be creative.
And the fun is not over. You can change the voice selection, so whether you want a male to read this, but also the speed, the tortoise and the hare, even though the tortoise won that race, but we know how it goes, right? The rabbit is faster, so it actually speeds up the speed. And then
creative, magnifying glass tilted left, explore the flip camera features and record a movie camera.
Yes, I did that because you know our students, they're gonna want to try to hear it as fast as possible. And I think that is just funny. But it's so much more to Immersive Reader. As you can see, some of the words and some of the letters have been highlighted. Within Immersive Reader,
movie camera.
Maybe I'll slow this up. Within Immersive Reader, you can change the text. This is important, especially for our dyslexic students or autistic students. You can change the font. So Comic Sans is the preferred font for our dyslexic students. But you also have some students who seeing a white background with black words on top actually hurts their eyes, and even adults. And so you can change the theme or the color of that to blue or yellow. The kids have so many different options where they can actually change the background. And this is honestly an awesome way to give your students the ability to change how they're seeing the words. So I'm going to pause because I just know some of your mouths just dropped or jaws dropped. This was a mic drop moment, right? Okay, I'm not done with Immersive Reader. How many of you are language arts teachers or mathematics or social studies or science or history beyond social studies, or even gymnastic teachers or coaches, this is for you. We all teach grammar. I'm going to say this again, because regardless of the subject area, we all teach grammar. And within Immersive Reader, you're able to highlight parts of speech for students. So whether they are searching for adjectives or nouns or adverbs, you're literally able to color code and highlight for your students what each is, right? So if you're asking students, hey, where are the nouns in my topic? Now we know it's buttons times flip camera features. Well, what about the verbs? Pushing, think, had, were, encourage, creative, be. Adverbs. Let me scroll down. How? What about adjectives? Biggest, immersive, preferred. So it's all up to you. And guess what? To put the cherry on top of it all, you can even show the syllables. And for my visual learners, Flip has even incorporated a picture dictionary into all of this.
Movie cam.
So I'm trying to see if I have any words that can be found in the picture dictionary, but I don't think so. Let's see. Okay. And on top of this, you can change the language, and not only the language, the dialect, right? So Chinese, you can find Chinese that's spoken in Singapore or in China or Hong Kong or Taiwan. And with Spanish, you can choose the Spanish that's in Latin America or Mexico or Spain. So it's totally up to you, and you can change the entire document. But that's not all. Students are able to see the original and Spanish version. They're able to look at both. So the original and Spanish, they no longer have to worry about having to press the book again. So I got truly excited with sharing Immersive Reader. Let me go back to the topic. We're here. And now you're going to add your response. So remember, we're pushing all of the buttons. As this loads, if you have any questions, please place them in the chat or tag us at Microsoft Flip. Okay. Did I not close out the other flip camera? Okay, there we go. Hi, so this should be me. Woo. So I want to push the buttons, and you should too, because this is all about creativity. But remember, we have 3 minutes max. And if you forget about whatever the prompt was, on the left-hand side, you have the topic description. So I know you can see it. Okay, so let the fun begin. I want to choose a virtual backdrop first, because usually I do that. And I usually try to choose somewhere where I wish I was. I don't know. I can't think. Okay, so because I can't think, what I'm just going to do is I'm going to blur the background for now. And I'm going to work on every other aspect. And yes, this happens sometimes where you just can't think, because I don't know whether I want to be on a beach or in an office space. But the possibilities are limitless. As the blur backdrop is loading, I'm also thinking to myself, what kind of text do I want? So we're talking about creativity. We're talking about EdFest. We're talking about Genially. So I'm going to name this EdFest Creative. You can change the background color of the text. You can change the text color. It's all up to you. If you've ever seen me post before, you know that I'm always changing the text color. You can add a sticker. You can add a GIF. I'm going to actually add a frame. And if you feel like there's frames here that you don't really want to use, You can always go into GIF and type in frame with transparent background, and so many will pop up that you can use. Remember, this is all about being creative, right? And sometimes we have to think outside of the box. So I love this. I haven't added a lot of things, but I also know that I have the option for just audio. So our mic only mode, especially for our student learners who they don't want to show their faces, but they want to be able to engage. They can begin the process of recording. 3, 2, 1. I am Jariksa Jalaba, and guess what I'm doing today? I am pushing all of the buttons. And I also want to see myself, so here I am. And you can add on while you're still recording, and you can move things around as well while you're recording, right? So that's totally fine. I'm going to stop this video. I'm going to click next. And what I love about this is, guess what? 1, I am Jariksa Jalaba, and guess what I'm doing today? I am pushing all of the buttons. And I also want to see myself. So I hope that you had the opportunity to push all the buttons. I'm going to get out of here because we have so much more to cover. So I'm going to get out of this, but I think you need a break. So let's do a quick 1-minute brain break. How do you celebrate the holidays with your family? You can put it in the chat. How do you celebrate the holidays with your family? As you all are writing in the chat, I would love to share how I celebrate the holidays with my family. We actually cook and eat a lot, and we do so in our pajamas. So the holidays is a time for us to be vulnerable and comfortable and eating everything and not really worrying about a care in the world. And I know that things might be different for other families, but we take what little we have and we make sure that we hold tight to it. And that's our family and that's our happiness. So with that being said, speaking of happiness and family and everything else, how can you use Flip and Genially to spark student creativity? I'm going to let you think about that for 30 seconds. How can you use Flip and Genially to spark student creativity? And you're probably asking, how does Genially fit in all of this beyond this just being Genially EdFest? And I'm here to actually answer that question. Discovery. Flip has a Discovery, used to be known as Discovery Library. We have over 40,000, I believe it's like 46,000 ready-to-use topics from our partners and our global network of educators. So yes, you may have shared your topic to Discovery, which means educators all over the world have access and can use your innovative approach. So today, I want to explore Discovery. So you're going to go back to your Flip page or head back to your Flip page, and where you see your profile picture is a drop-down menu. You're going to click on Discovery. Welcome to your homepage of over 46,000 ready-to-use topics. You'll see there's featured topics, there's popular topics, there's topic of the day, which changes every single day. So right now we're in Indigenous Peoples Month, in Indigenous Peoples Heritage Month. And so you'll see that there's a topic from Epic School. Wonder of the Day is from Hex Color Codes and Wanderopolis. And then you'll see trending topics and partners. So what you'll really see is that there's inspiring creators, you all, who have contributed to the Discovery Library. I love using this part of Discovery because I get to use some topics that my friends from Twitter have actually created. And guess what? I'm right there. But let me go back to Discovery and let's dive into our partners. At the beginning of the session, I mentioned to you all that Microsoft Reflect is a part of the Flip Discovery. And I also mentioned that Genially is a part of Flip Discovery. They are a discovery partner. And so when you go into the partner section, it is all in alphabetic order. So I'm clicking on Genially, and you'll be able to see there are dozens of interactive activities and lesson plans that's right just for you. The way you can tell if it's something that you want to use now or later is by looking at the subject and the community. So I love to look at both because I get to see if it's aligned with any subject area that I'm focusing on, but also the appropriate ages of students that I have in the classroom. And I've just spotted an activity that I know is definitely going to spark creativity, which is a poet spotlight with Maya Angelou. So as you can see, there's 41 educators who have already used this topic within their classrooms. It's for middle schoolers, ages 11 to 13, but you can use this with any age because guess what? It sparks curiosity, it's interactive, and it focuses on students sharing 3 things that they learned from this image. So let's explore. So Maya Angelou was this poet that I grew up knowing about. She's a civil rights activist, which means she stood up for the rights of African American and people of color. This spotlight, all in itself, just looking at this image means so much to me. And can you think of giving your students the opportunity of posting an image onto a flipped topic and exploring just different things, whether it's to create a video or to recite a poem or to read a story. And so Still I Rise is a poem that I grew up reading, especially when we did our poetry slams in elementary school. Cage Bird is an excerpt. And then Phenomenal Woman is another excerpt of a poem. Phenomenal Woman, Pretty Woman, Wonder Where My Secret Lies. Phenomenal Woman, that's me. I grew up reading this text, and so I'm already thinking about so many possibilities of using Genially to spark student creativity in the classroom. And remember, it's all within Flip Discovery, so you have access to this. What about key women in science? This is something else that sparks creativity. You can explore this interactive image of all of these key women. Katherine Johnson, if you've looked at any of the movies, if you read about anything in regards to Black women in science, Katherine Johnson's name pops up, of course, the most and sometimes first, because she was a mathematician who made space travel possible. And so we could click on this interactive image. So I think by now you should be able to understand so many possibilities that you can do with images, imagery, video, context. And I think this is so cool. You can get info on Katherine Johnson. You can get info on anyone. So I'm going to get out of here because I know that you all are eager to engage with this video and the discovery topic. And I just want to go back to show you Reflect as well, just because I know that I mentioned it. So I don't want you to feel like I mentioned something and I didn't show it. But here's Microsoft Reflect. And these are awesome for fill-ins and SEO. You can smash, meaning you can put together a Microsoft Reflect slide and flip topic for opener. And the middle of your lesson or your formative assessment can be your Genially. So these are all the topics that's there. That's how many times they were used. You can explore. It's over 26 topics from Microsoft Reflect. So I actually want to get back to discovery and Genially with a topic. The topic is called discovery. Let's explore. And I know we may not have time for you to do it now, or if you begin now, you can finish up on your own time. But I would love for you to take 5 minutes to explore the Genially partner page, which we were just on. And you're going to click through the topics. I would love for you to add a topic to one of your groups or even create a topic separate or group separate for that topic and save it for later. and then record a video using the share screen camera tool. Remember, those 3 dots, more options, is where you can find it, where you discuss one topic found in Discovery that you would use with your students and explain why. So I'm going to go back to the Genially partner page. That way you can see it. So this is our topic. Remember the partner page, you're going to go to Discovery. Then you're going to scroll all the way down to partners. It's in alphabetical order. So you're going to go to G. Creativity, accessibility, inclusion. I see this all as one thing. Let's view all of the partners. We're going to go down to G, Genially. Here we are. Let's go to a topic. I'm going to go to Black women and civil rights. And the way you add a topic is by clicking on Add Topic. You can add this to your groups. You can create a new group or you can save it for later. I'm going to add it to my group. The name of the group is Genially EdFest. Here we are. And guess what? Now it's saved to my group. I'm going to go back to my topics. And voila, this is within our Genially EdFest group. You can see it. There's an attachment. And now it's within our group. You can adjust to where you want it to actually show up. And bam, we did it. So I want to thank all of you for joining me today for this absolutely awesome session. And the way that we at Flip want to say thank you is we partner with Microsoft Take Lessons to actually give you your choice of 3 private lessons, which is up to $40 for free until November 30th. Take Lessons is a Microsoft company, and you can take any private lessons on coding or art. I've taken lessons on yoga. My colleague Anne has taken lessons on water painting. You can choose. There's so many different options. And so enjoy your next class on Take Lessons at takelessons.com. Oh, let me go back. The promo code is FLIPFAM. So make sure you take out your phones, take this picture, and you have until November 30th to get this done, meaning to book your classes. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's session on creativity. I am your presenter, Jarisa Vijalba. Thank you for spending today with me, and tag us at Microsoft Flip, at Genially, hashtag Genially EdFest, hashtag Aksharitza. Bye, friend. Okay.
Wow. Once again, boom.
Jaritza, what an amazing session. Thank you so much.
That was a fantastic session. And I'm definitely going to add Flip videos to our map now.
That would be perfect.
Oh, I know, right? We just have a few minutes here before our next fabulous session. So just a quick reminder that you can still enter for our prize draw for the
getting those directions up there.
Tag.
Here we go.
Post.
There they are. So share your takeaways, screenshots on social media using the hashtag Genially EdFest, and tag the presenter or presenters to enter the prize draw for an Edu Pro plan. We'll be giving away 2 at the end of today.
Super. Okay, so now it's time for a quick chat box check-in.
Here we go.
Coming at
real quick. First question. How are you doing? What are you up to? More importantly, are you wearing any cool socks?
Well, of course
Erica,
I am.
What do we got?
We're going guitars. We're rocking it tonight. We're rock star socks.
Never fail to surprise me. I'm barefoot tonight. But look, I realized I've been wearing this sweatshirt for 3 days in a row, and I've never showed the logo on
I
it.
kept saying that. I say,
Cool
Gwen,
clothes.
she's wearing this really cool sweatshirt with their logo, and I thought, oh, nice. But yeah,
All right, we've got one more question, and we have a session coming up.
How are we
So,
doing?
question,
No
what do
socks,
you
but you have comfy slippers. Yay, Tatiana.
Oh, there we
Yes,
go.
love funky socks,
Love
Melanie.
funky socks.
Yeah, I got a lot.
And another question for you is, what are you learning in ed tech right now? We'd love to know tools, methodologies. Jessica doing well, planning for
So
next
what do you
week,
hope to
comfy
learn?
lime green sweater. Or what do you hope to learn?
Yeah, what do you
Exactly.
hope to learn? I'm learning right now Web3 and a lot of AR and VR and all this really cool stuff. The socks. Thanks, Van. Kathy. Yes. So yeah, so is
Thanks,
anybody
man.
learning is anybody learning green screen? Please say yes.
Someone wants to know. We'll keep reading you in the chat, but now we have two fabulous presenters who are going to join us for a session on universally awesome professional development. Thanks, Daditza. I love this sweatshirt too. On universally awesome professional development, here come Lori Guion, the model schools coordinator at Washington, Saratoga. I've got to read this one. Washington, Saratoga, Warren, Hamilton, Essex, BOCES, and Ashley Callahan, an amazing learning designer at the nonprofit Avid Center. I
Wow.
honestly can't believe we got two amazing people like this to team up and create this session. So get ready for something really, really special. Lori and Ashley, take it away.
Take it away.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our session, Universally Awesome Professional Development, a look into UDL and PD. We are so excited to have you here today. And if you actually want to follow along, our session does have some interactivity, and you can follow along by going to the URL down at the bottom of the screen, tinyurl.com/PDUDL Genially. And before we get started today, we want to take a moment to introduce ourselves. Hi, I am Ashley Callahan. You can find me at Twitter at @acallahanedu. And I am coming to you from Austin, Texas, and I am a learning designer for Avid Center, an educational nonprofit. And I am joined by Lori today. Hi, Lori.
Hello, so happy to be here. I'm Lori Guion. You can find me on Twitter at @SmileLearning, and I am the Model Schools Coordinator at Washington, Saratoga, Warren, Hamilton, and Essex BOCES, which is located in upstate New York.
Awesome, thanks, Lori. And before we get started today, we kind of want to ground ourselves in a fun little game called That's Me. This is actually our first interactivity for our presentation. If you want to join along, all of the statements you see on your screen are actually movable. So we're going to go through this with you. So if you've been in education for more than 10 years, you can actually drag the statement over to the left if you agree that is a true statement for you, or you can move it to the left if that is not a true statement for you. So for me, I have been in education for more than 10 years. What about you, Lori?
Absolutely. I've been in education for more than 10 years, so I'm the same spot for you as that one.
Love it. So you have been in education in multiple states/countries. I'm also going to move over to the true column for myself.
And I will would move mine to the no because I've only been in New York.
Interesting. So fun. So you love a good bookstore.
Absolutely.
I do.
Yes. Who doesn't love a new book, and the smell in the bookstore of all the new books is wonderful.
They're so good. They're so good. So you are a parent of an elementary age child. I actually am not. My child's only 3, so she has not gotten there yet.
And my children are much older, so no, I am not a parent of elementary age children.
But this one is right for you then, right? Like your children are grown and out of the house?
Yes, they are. They're both in college, so yes. I'm an empty nester.
Mine not. I have a little bit to go.
It goes fast. I promise you that.
So you have bought something on Amazon within the last week?
Or within the last 24 hours, yes.
Of course, of course. You love to cook. I actually married a chef, so I don't have to cook. So I'm going to move that over there.
I did not marry a chef, but I still don't care about cooking. So that's not for me.
You are not a huge fan of technology. I think we're both over here on the not true statement, right?
That would be true. Yes. My whole job is working with technology and teachers. So that would be bad if I wasn't a fan. So I do love technology.
For sure. You know another language. We both decided that this actually also goes for coding. Coding is a language. So
yep. So we're both there. We're going to say we know the language of coding at least a little bit.
At least a little bit. Enough to be dangerous, right?
That's right.
And then your workspace is always a mess. This is not true.
No,
right now.
Mine is not. Yeah, mine is pretty neat. I always say my inbox is a mess, but my desk is always clean.
I love it so much. So we really wanted to do this activity to show you that people can be similar in one vein and not similar in the other, and that is okay. We all come to a space with different backgrounds, different beliefs, different ways of doing things, different strengths, weaknesses, likes, dislikes, and that is really one of the core tenets of UDL, and we are so excited to share that with you.
So kind of staying on the same vein where we're thinking about, our similarities and differences, I want you to picture yourself walking into a teacher appreciation breakfast and you're a vegan and they hand you a tomato slice and some plain oatmeal and say, that's what you can have. Or your coworker is a vegetarian and they hand them a bagel and cream cheese and an orange. Or, I'm a diabetic and I can only have the scrambled eggs. Or somebody has a peanut allergy and they're given a fruit bowl and yogurt. But everyone else there can eat anything they want and they get this bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich with fruit and a cup of coffee. And think about how that would make you feel if you were told what you were allowed to have versus given options based on having this beautiful buffet of all these different things to eat. And that's what we're kind of talking about today. When you're talking about the principles of UDL, we really want to think about making sure that we're meeting our learners, but that they have some choice and they have some options as we're going through the process. So we are, and Ashley's going to do a great job explaining these different parts of UDL, but it is broken down into 3 areas: representation, action and expression, and engagement. And I'll turn it over to you, Ashley, to dive into these.
Awesome. Yeah, so when you are talking about UDL, we're just going to do like a real brief overview. So when you think about UDL or you talk about UDL, usually you are given this Universal Design for Learning guideline document. So what you see here is that document, and it's really used as a framework to improve and optimize teaching and learning for all people. And it's based on tons of research and scientific insight about how we as humans actually learn. So we're going to show you how this is broken down. So you'll see those 3 categories that Lori just showed us: the representation, action and expression, and engagement. Those are actually what Universal Design for Learning is called principles. So those are broken down into 3 big buckets or categories. Underneath that, you'll see these bolded colored pieces, and those are actually the guidelines. Those are the things that we should think about, the options that we should provide within the 3 principles of representation, action and expression, and engagement. And then finally, UDL breaks it down into smaller components called checkpoints. Underneath, you might see this unnumbered on certain UDL guideline documents, but this is really the things that we should think about when we are offering choice and voice to our learners using those checkpoints. We also wanted to take a moment to offer another perspective on how representation, action and expression, and engagement looks throughout our learning. So when we talk about representation, one way to think about it is the input. How are we ensuring that our learners feel empowered, feel part of the process? We are engaging with them in a way that they understand the information that they are being given. This can be through promoting language, illustration through multiple means of media. Just how are the learners gaining the information? The second one of action and expression is really that output. Are we offering choices and voices into the learning space for our learners so they can show how they learn? And then the final piece here is engagement. How are we engaging with our learners during the learning itself, allowing them to be their best selves and engage in the process?
So a lot of us go into a lesson or an activity or work with students, and we have these beliefs and assumptions. And UDL has these assumptions as well that we should consider when we're building and designing. And really, these 6 different things, I'm just going to dive into each of them a little bit, but we're going to see more of them as we go through the next slides. But really, when we're thinking about designing our lessons and designing our activities that we're going to do, we want to try to remove any barriers that we might have to the learning. We have to think about all our learners and think about how we can make sure that they have access to the information. We have to consider learner variability, and we'll dive into this a little bit more on the next slides, but really we're thinking about every student learns in a different way or has comes up with some foundational knowledge from whatever they did before, and we have to think about how we're going to make sure we fill any gaps that they need and enrich them in whatever else they need to be able to continue to grow. We definitely want to consider options and choice. We know that if we talked about that with the buffet, that if you're told what you can have versus given options, you might feel like you belong more in this environment and that your needs are being met. We definitely want to also separate the goals from the methods. And what I mean by that is we want to make sure that we're thinking about the content, but we're also thinking about the delivery. And we're thinking about how we can make sure that we're hitting the targets that our students or our participants in a PD need. And then we want to think about the context of how we're learning. We want to make sure that we're offering multiple means to make sure that the information that we're giving can actually be accessed. And then we really want to work on making sure that we have some expert learners, that they are able to feel a sense of accomplishment and feel like, okay, I've got this, I'm ready for whatever's next. The other big thing to consider is our focus. So we're not going to play the video, but you'll have it in your resources. But in this video, there's a bunch of people that are walking in a circle and they're bouncing a basketball. And the narrator is telling you to count how many times they pass the ball. But what happens is there's a gorilla that actually walks across the screen in the middle of it. And we ask you afterwards if you spotted the gorilla. And really what that is talking about that what we focus on becomes our filter. We start ignoring everything else that's around us because we're focused on the one thing. We often do this in school where we're focused on the learning objective or the project or something that we want to accomplish, but we may not notice some of the other things that are happening around us. So we want to make sure that we're cleaning out our instructional closet, that we're making sure that we're not focusing on something without realizing some of the other things that are happening around it. The other big one we want to mention when we're talking about assumptions and filters is learning styles has been proven that it's not a thing, right? So we all learned it in college. I remember learning about learning styles in college, but it's definitely something that research has shown is really not, it doesn't hold true. Really what it is our learning styles are our preferences. It's how we prefer to learn. So some of you might prefer to read it. Some of you might prefer to listen to a podcast. Some of you might prefer to watch a video. It's how we want to process the information. So it really is our preference. So we want to think about this process and how we can offer multiple means to make sure that we're meeting the needs and the preferences, but we can't focus on it being the learning style. We need to offer this variety. So words and visuals, we want to make sure that our students have some sort of visual literacy as much as they have that linguistic literacy. And then we want to think about how we prefer to learn or how we do learn in order to improve our actual outcomes.
And just to bring Lori's point home, let's go ahead and have a quick history lesson. So back in the 1940s, the US Air Force was having quite a big a problem. They were having a lot of issues with their Air Force fighter jets. They were crashing at an extremely alarming rate. They had at one point 7 fighter jets go down in one day. This obviously caused some alarm within the United States Air Force, and they really decided that they needed to figure out what the problem was. So they did tons of research, and they decided that it wasn't a malfunction, sorry about that, a malfunction in the fighter jets themselves, but it actually ended up being a fighter pilot issue. So let's take a trip a little bit further back. The cockpits were designed for those fighter jets back in the 1920s. 1926 was that version of a fighter jet cockpit. And how the cockpit was actually designed was they took the average size of hundreds of male pilots of the time. They took measurements of their arms, their legs, their torso, their head, anything that they could, over 140 dimensions of size, thumb length, all of these things. They took the average of all those sizes, and that is how they designed the cockpit for the fighter jets. Fast forward, when they're having all of the issues, they decide to bring in researchers to determine if the cockpit that was designed was actually designed with the average in mind. They brought a gentleman in by the name of Lieutenant Daniels, and he took 10 of the most important, according to him, physical dimensions of the fighter jets. And he wanted to find out if any of the pilots actually was average on those 10 dimensions all the way across the board. He measured 4,063 fighter pilots and determined that not a single one of them was average on all 10 of those physical dimensions. So what does that mean? So that means that it wasn't the fighter pilots in terms of not being the average, because none of the fighter pilots were average. So they quickly decided that they needed to find a solution to this problem. Also in the 1950s was when cars started to introduce adjustable seats. So the United States Air Force took those adjustable seats, placed them in the cockpits of the fighter jets, and they saw a huge improvement in the use of the fighter jets, as in all of the accidents that were happening pretty much came to cease. So the idea behind this story is that there is no average, and we really need to offer choices to our people.
So yeah, and exactly what Ashley said. So we had to offer some sort of choice. We had to think about the fact that our students, whether they're children or adults that are coming to our trainings, we have to think about the fact that there is no average. And just bringing that to learner variability, this is a screenshot from Digital Promise where they were explaining the difference between all the different areas that we typically measure. And we're looking at that domain-specific content, our cognition, how we're feeling, our social emotional learning, and our background. And really what they found is if you take any one student, they're going to be low, average, or high across multiple places. So their vocabulary might be low, but their memory is high. Their self-regulation is low, but their working memory is high. So when we're looking at all of these, when we're looking at the participants that come to our PD or our students that are sitting in our class, we have to take this into consideration as we're designing our lessons, that we can't make the lesson for the average student, because again, there is no average student. So let's take a peek at how that could look in our classrooms.
So what we're going to do for the next couple slides is we're actually going to look at a couple different academic standards and how UDL might play into those standards. So the first one I want to show comes from Common Core State Standard, and it is an English standard talking about using the precise language and domain-specific vocabulary to inform about or explain a topic. So when you are using UDL, one example of this would be providing multiple means of engagement. And one way that you can do that is by recruiting interest or offering choices. So if you look at the standard, it doesn't actually say that the students need to write. So instead, how can we still meet the standard, but offering the students different choices? Some ideas that we had was you could still offer the choice of writing a traditional essay. You could allow the students to create a video using domain-specific vocabulary and precise language, or you could allow the students to record a podcast. Another thing that this idea hits on is this is also providing multiple means of action and expression, multiple ways that the students could have expressed their ideas or communicate. The next example, we're going to bring it down to elementary for our elementary friends, is one way that we might provide multiple means of representation. And in mathematics, we always want to provide options for students to use actual pieces of blocks or coins or something like that, so that they can actually do the math. And so on this example, if we're doing 2 plus 3, we could pull our 2 over here, our 3 from over on the right, and we have our 5. I know that's a little easy, but we are talking about first graders. So we have that, and then our final example that we wanted to showcase could include all 3 of the principles we discussed earlier. So you could offer this to students as a way to provide options for comprehension, a way that they could get their background knowledge. We have our illustration, we have actual text, as well as providing videos for the students to watch as well. So whatever way students might be able to gain that information, offering them choice in that. In addition, this could be an output. So this could be something that we're allowing the students to create, which again would be offering them options for expression and communication, in that they could also offer to the teacher to show their learning a visual, text, or video.
So now we're going to shift and talk about how it could look in professional learning. So you have a group of teachers, educators in your PD session, and you want to take a look at how you can make sure that you're meeting the needs of every learner. And we're breaking this down into 3 different areas. The first being collaboration. We're really thinking about making sure that we're offering options, and we're giving our participants a chance to talk with each other and to kind of figure things out and learn from each other. The second one we're going to consider is our tech tools. What tools make the most sense? Are we going to offer choice in those tools? How are we going to allow them to express what they've learned? And then finally, what we're going to be looking at is how are we going to assess them? So we're really looking at how we're going to make sure that they have the material. Are they going to create something? Are they going to discuss something? What is it going to be that you're going to assess them on to make sure that we've really touched on every part in our trainings? So we're going to dive a little deeper into those on the next slide. We're going to talk about collaboration first. The first one, these are just 3 ideas. There's plenty you can look at when you're looking at universal design for learning. But when you're thinking about that collaboration and what it could look like in action, think about the times when you're doing activities where there's active listening. It could be a small campfire type of setup. It could be walking the room, and it could be small groups, larger groups, however you're breaking them down. But you're doing some sort of active listening where you're using those tools that you have, like in a Socratic seminar, where you're making sure that everyone has a voice and is listened to. You can also use the jigsaw method, where you know that you're going to take all the different parts, break it down into smaller groups, fill out some sort of document of some sort, or gather information in some way, and then come back together to share. And then another great one to do is to think about the book club type of activity, where they might have to do some pre-reading or pre things to be ready for the time you're together. But then when you're together, you'll be sharing what you've learned and what you've done, and then make a plan going forward for the next time that you meet. As far as tech tool, oh, you're going into this one, then I go to the next one.
It's okay.
I was ready to go on.
let's talk about tech tools. And we are super excited to show some tech tools dealing specifically with Genially. Genially has some great templates that you can use that deal with UDL as well as professional development. So some of the things that Genially offers are the idea of games, using games within our professional development. In these games, you can embed things like videos, podcasts, charts, infographics. Genially has tons of templates you can use, and so we'll see if this one pops up. Creating a board game for your staff or teachers to go through that allows them to engage in learning materials themselves. Just a fun, engaging way for them to do that. Another way that you can embed tech into your professional development using Genially would build a choose your own adventure. So building time into self-differentiate learning. This could be done throughout the whole entire school year if you so choose. Again, Genially offers some really great templates to do that. So one idea that we wanted to showcase, again, was the idea of a choose your own adventure. So offering them choices throughout the year to get to the end of their professional learning. So things like read 5 tips to set up your classroom as a novice teacher. So just embedding articles that they might be able to read, offering videos for them to watch, which again can be embedded right within the Genially. Also asking them to attend live events such as Genially Fest. And then having them basically choose their own adventure to get to the end goal of their professional learning. Another great way to engage your teachers is by using an escape room. Again, tons of templates that are on there, but really using the escape room as a way to introduce more information to the teachers in a fun way that will be engaging. The next is the use of interactive images, again with the idea that information being displayed in a range of ways, visual, text, multimedia, really allows all learners to engage in with the materials. So some examples of this would be using an image for blended learning and then being able to click on the image to learn more. And then lastly, offering some sort of glossary. We as educators love our acronyms so much. And so offering some sort of glossary, especially to newer teachers or teachers that are just not quite there yet on our background knowledge, allowing them to gain that background knowledge in the language so that everyone is up on how we do business in our education sphere.
Those were some great tools. Great job. I enjoyed listening to them, and you know, I've used some of those templates before, but seeing them in different ways sometimes gives you a different idea. So it's nice to be able to share and collaborate with others, because it's exactly what we're trying to showcase with all of you. But now I have an idea spinning in my head that I want to kind of do based on one of those templates. But we're going to kind of shift gears a little bit to the assessing part, and we know that we're not going to be assessing adult learners maybe the same as we would in our class. But we might assess our students the way we might assess our adults coming through our training. So I just wanted to highlight a few that you could do, and I kind of went low tech on this because I wanted you to see that it could really be done anywhere. The first one being just a reflection. At the end of a training, it's really great to have participants get together, collaborate, and then discuss what they've learned. And really, that's going to do is help shift that learning into their long-term memory. If it's something that they get the chance to actually reflect on where they are and where they want to go next, that's really going to help with that long-term memory. Another great one is journaling. I was an English teacher for many years, so I love any kind of writing. This again could be online or offline. There are some great templates you can certainly use for that, or you can have it written down. Is what are your next steps? What have you learned? What connections can you make to other trainings that you've been to? You could also use peer feedback, and this can be done through conversations like you see in the image. They're having conversations about different things along the lines of digital citizenship, but you could use checklists at the end. You could use any kind of document or something right in your journal to be offering that feedback back and forth with rubrics, but ways that we know that we can support each other. You know, for example, if you're doing a training and you have a teacher who's like, I really want to make this template, but I'm going to need help. And there's another one that says, you know what, I'm really good at that. I can help you out. This might be a time to be able to pair them together, offer each other feedback as you're going through. And then finally, it's those worked examples. So just like Ashley showed you with the tools, she showed you some examples of some Geniallys in action. It's showing what the learning could look like, offering some sort of visual, offering some sort of text, offering some sort of resource that's going to give your participants a chance to practice those skills. And then we're going to end today with just a few resources that we love as far as universal design for learning. The first one is a blog post about the difference between what UDL is and our traditional education, to make sure that we're offering those opportunities. So if you're still confused on that switch or you need more support, this is a great article for you. The center one is Digital Promise, which I mentioned earlier. Digital Promise has a learner variability navigator that you can use for your core classes or your core type of students, or for your adult learners. So you can go through and say, maybe they're struggling with metacognition, or they have some SEL needs, and then they're going to give you some resources that are going to help you use UDL in whatever group of students or participants that you're working with. And then the final one is a Padlet that was actually on Digital Promise of resources that are really great for UDL. So it's going to take you out to more. So if you really need more information, this is going to be that more for you. So here we're trying to, again, showcase that, when you're using UDL, you want to make sure that you have these multiple means of resources and such to be able to help people out. So with that, we'll say thank you so much. It's been a pleasure sharing our thoughts as far as professional learning goes. Ashley, do you have any final thoughts you'd like to add?
No, I am so excited that you all were here and you all gave us a watch, and we hope you the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Amazing.
I'm in awe by what I just saw. Pack that. I really do. I actually got really cold. It dropped. The temperature dropped a bunch here in New England.
Okay.
Just now. Sorry,
You
I
felt
forgot
the drop. I love it. I love it. I like this new style.
Thanks.
New you. New moment, new you. Yeah, I loved that session. And I loved also what Ashley and Lori said about needing to look at our assumptions and reevaluate our assumptions and clean out that closet.
Yes.
So important.
We had a conversation about that last night.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. And there's a good reason for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of other important things that we should be reviewing regularly, day one was SEL, but I'm a big believer that SEL is not a one and done thing, right? Like we learn skills, we learn activities, we learn ways of practicing and teaching students these skills, but then we need to continually practice them, right? What do you think, Erica?
We do. That is the truth.
That
is the truth.
Do you have something for us today? Some way we can
do. I wanted to. Yeah, just something that, I even taught my students this today because I have a new group. It's a new quarter. Just about the power of breath. And, one of the things I tell them is, how many of you have studied for a test before and you just forgot everything right when you got to the test? They're like, oh, me.
Totally.
I said, well, I said, try a breathing bubble. And I showed them what a breathing bubble is right before the test and see what happens. Those answers will come flying back in. And there's a lot of science behind it. We can get into it. But I wanted to show you and practice with you using one of the breathing bubbles that my students have made. Awesome. I call it hashtag my breathing bubble. You can go to that hashtag anytime. I've been promising these templates and tutorials for a long time, but they are coming out. I'm writing a book, actually. But anyway, a breathing bubble is a 1-minute breathing exercise where you inhale for 3 and hold it at the top and exhale. Anyway, what I have the students do is they create a breathing bubble, and inside the breathing bubble, using all kinds of programs, we put something in there that brings us calm personally. Could be a picture of your pet, could be a video of your pet, could be a vacation spot, could be something that makes you laugh. Anyway, Eiley and I are working on an amazing template for Genially for this, but let's give this a try together. So
take a look at one.
Yeah, let's go ahead and put your feet on the floor. And
Erica, if you share that with me, I'll go ahead and put it up. You've got the link up. But we're all going to get settled for this.
So, excuse me.
Yeah, and I think the best way to understand what a breathing bubble is to see one. So here we go. Perfect.
Yes.
Let's take a look.
And a lot of times breathing bubbles move with the picture, but this is a different kind of one that a student made, and I'm really proud of them. Okay, everybody. Here we go.
Love this.
I know, right?
Ready.
So ready. Don't fall asleep on me. All right. Breathe in and hold it. Really fill your belly up.
Thank you for that. And I love the cute puppies throughout.
One of my favorite things is how your voice changed. You know, how do people feel right now that if they gave it a try? I mean, tell us. It's clearly I needed that. My throat chakra saying, I need to speak my truth. No, I'm getting deep. But yeah, these breathing bubbles are really fun to make. But the best part is watching the kids create them and watching them practice their timing with their bubble. And they're all just slumped in their chairs like, I'm so relaxed.
That's awesome.
I can't get
That's
my
so
bubble right,
awesome.
but man.
What a cool skill to be teaching so young too. Yeah, it's awesome. I think about like what would my middle school experience have been like if I had breathing bubbles. So different, right?
You know, game changer for in teaching them young. And but my students, even there's a Chrome extension called Mindful Break that has a little breathing bubble in your Chromebooks. But yes, you will be getting tutorials and templates for this. It is coming. I am creating a book that I'm going to share.
Awesome. And I'm looking at the chat now. Love all the learning, says Rochelle Danae Poth, who is our next presenter. So excited. Rochelle is a teacher, a consultant, a speaker, a blogger. Like she does it all, and it's incredible. I have no idea how she juggles so many things at the same time. She does it all. She does it all really well.
I don't either. And she loves Nashville. That's her thing.
Yeah. And she's up next with a session on essential skills for tomorrow's world. So here we go. All right, Rochelle.
Take it away.
Hi, everyone. I am so excited to be part of this amazing event and looking forward to sharing some ideas with you. Definitely looking forward to some questions and also some new connections. So my name is Rochelle Danae Poth, and I am a Spanish and esteem educator and have a lot of years of experience in teaching and learning and trying new ideas in my classroom. And so I'm looking forward to sharing my session with you today, which is Chart a New Course, Teaching Essential Skills for Tomorrow's World. And if you want to connect with me on Twitter, on Instagram, it's RDENE915, so RDENE915. And I would love to learn from you what your ideas are, if you're using some of the different methods, if you have some of the different same templates that you've used, or however you're exploring some of these ideas in your classroom, because I always love bringing new ideas to my students. And of course, continuing to learn myself as an educator, it's important that we do that. So I hope that you will enjoy the session and get some new ideas. And I definitely encourage some multitasking. If you have not yet started to create something, then by all means, open up a new tab and start creating today, because it is so easy to get started. So as I said, my name is Rochelle Danae Poth. I am a full-time teacher. I'm also an author, an attorney, and a consultant. And what I love to do the most is to share ideas of what I'm using in my classroom, the amazing ideas that my students come up with, try new things, which is not something that I always did. I was a little bit kind of nervous about trying new methods or doing things differently in my classroom that I didn't have enough experience with. And so over the years, I've tried to kind of get away from doing things the way that I had always done them and take some risks in the classroom, also to involve students more in the decisions and let them kind of take the lead. I became, I guess, comfortable with what could be uncomfortable at times. So I'll share with you some different ideas, methods, of course, always focusing on, what are some methods that we can use in our classroom and what are the benefits? And then once we figure out what those methods are, those activities, then how do we facilitate them? Does it involve just something like a traditional paper, pencil, those types of things? Or are there a lot of opportunities that we can use and expand what we're doing in our classroom using technology and focusing on the purpose? And so we will dive right in, but the most important thing, and this is something that I started to focus on more in the last couple of years. As I mentioned, I'm a language educator, and for many years, whether speaking at conferences, talking with friends, or even students who I didn't teach, just people that I would come in connection with because of other of my friends that are teachers, they would say, well, I had so many years of a language and I don't remember that much, or I don't use it that often. And so I understand that. And so I started to realize that I needed to provide different opportunities for my students in my classroom. Of course, I want them to learn Spanish, and I know how beneficial it is to have those language skills. But I also know that to provide the best for students, it means that I need to help them to develop other skills, skills that will benefit them, whatever they do when they leave my classroom, our school, and go into their next phase, whether it's continuing their education, they get into some type of a career, or anything that they do. And as we know, the jobs are continuing to change. So I've kind of shifted my focus from it's all about the content to it's definitely about the content, but in helping them to build those content area skills, what are the other skills that I can help them to build? And why does that matter? And how does it help them to learn in different ways, more personalized and meaningful ways, and definitely authentic ways? And so it has been a learning process for me because a couple of years ago, I was asked a question by somebody and I'll share that with you shortly, but these are some of the things that I started to consider after that question was asked. And I think when we look at future success and how we're preparing our students, how will they do if they don't have these skills, such as knowing how to build a relationship and to collaborate with each other, to set goals, to try to reach a goal and have it not go as they had planned or as they had hoped, and then to realign and kind of reflect on it and to set new goals, to make decisions in learning, like what to create, what to explore, anything like that. To deal with emotions, right? There are challenges that come with learning. We go through a productive struggle, as we've heard, and that can be uncomfortable if you don't know the answer to something, or if something is overwhelming and we become frustrated. Even as adults, these are things that we need to continue to work on. And then, of course, to empathize with others. And so these fall into a certain area, which is social emotional learning. And that's the question that I was asked a couple of years ago. I had somebody at a conference say to me, so what are you doing in your classroom for SEL? And of course, we know in education, there are a lot of different topics and terms and acronyms, and it's hard to know everything. And when the person asked me that question, initially, I kind of got nervous because I didn't recognize it. So I said to them, well, what are you doing for SEL? And they named a couple of things that they have been doing in their classroom. And when I listened to their response, I realized, okay, I am doing some of those same things, but clearly I need to figure out exactly what this is all about. So I went and, of course, Googled SEL. I found the castle.org site and I learned about the 5 competencies of social emotional learning. So if this is something that is new to you, I recommend that you check it out. In this presentation, in my info button, I do have a link directly to the Castle site. But I started to look at what these competencies were. And they're broken down, as I said, into those 5. You have the self-awareness, social awareness, self-management, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making. And then I looked at what I was doing in my classroom and thinking about, for example, in your classroom, or if you are a tech coach or an administrator and providing opportunities for your teachers, thinking about how we help them or we help our students to understand where they are in learning. And for us as educators in our professional learning, if we taught a lesson, to evaluate how that lesson went and to be aware of areas that we need to work on, things that we're doing well. So that is essential, not just for students, but for us as well as adults in our personal and professional lives. So understanding and assessing our strengths, becoming more confident in learning, then social awareness. As a language educator, I have a lot of opportunities for my students to learn about different places where Spanish is spoken. We have some connections with students in other schools, such as Argentina and in Spain, where my students have been able to interact with them and learn from them. And so they're developing that social awareness beyond our classroom community and understanding each other and appreciating, different backgrounds and experiences and perspectives. So that is important. The decision-making when it comes to even simple things like using technology and posting things online and digital citizenship, for example, how to decide what to explore, what to create, anything like that, that is applicable for our students, for ourselves in our work every day. And then, of course, carrying that to the future. The stress that comes with a lot of things, right? Learning, making decisions every day, especially in the last couple of years, as we've had to kind of change things in our classrooms, teaching virtually, working remotely, doing the mix and doing the hybrid. We've had to go through a lot of those challenges and deal with emotions. And so that self-management is essential for everybody. And then finally, those relationships. We hear so often that it always comes down to the relationships. And that's true. Being able to work with somebody else, to collaborate, teamwork is essential for now and in the future. That's one of the top skills from World Economic Forum. But being able to ask for help and having that support system in place. And so, as I mentioned, when somebody asked me about SEL, I wasn't totally sure. But after spending some time and seeing what these 5 competencies were, then I realized, okay, these are areas that I can work on in my class with my students. I just need some different methods and things for them to work on. So once I did that, I explored the World Economic Forum. And I've been looking at this for the last couple of years. And I think about, future ready, future focused. We always hear about 21st century skills, any type of way that you want to refer to it. But what are those skills that students need? Because they're changing. And if you take a look at these, the 2022 and versus the 2025. Now, the thing about the 2022 is it showed the growing and the declining. And if you look closely at it, there are a lot of them that kind of stayed in the middle and some that rose to the top. And some of those things that rose to the top are things like analytical thinking and innovation, for example. Active learning and learning strategies are up there, especially for 2025. Problem solving, the critical thinking and analysis, the leadership and social influence and the intelligence, and of course, using technology. So I think about preparing students for jobs that we don't even know maybe what the jobs are because they don't exist yet. So it comes down to methods for me. And I used to always focus on the tools because that was the easy part. Like, oh, I know this tool and I can use that in my classroom. I know this activity that I've done, or I have this worksheet to use. But now I focus on what are the methods? And because I do some presentations and I do some writing and I talk with other educators, I try to have a lot of ideas. And I think about what happens if we do have to shift again. Well, wherever learning is taking place, is this going to work? Will students be able to do this? Will they have access to what they need? What are some strategies that if you teach elementary school or middle school, high school, or higher ed even, or whatever the content areas are, that we can all bring that into our classroom? And then tying it back to what I learned a couple of years ago, the social emotional learning and those future ready, future focused skills. So I kind of try to guide myself with these 3 questions, and of course, many more in mind, but these are my focus, just so I have some ideas that I can share. And again, I would love to learn from you. What are you using in your classroom that is working, that is helping students to build the skills in the content area, and of course, preparing them for the future? So like I mentioned, I focus on the methods. What are some things that we can have in our classroom that students can engage in active learning, that they can be creative, they can collaborate, they build that resilience, they develop empathy, it ties into the social emotional learning skills. And so what I'll share with you today are some of the different ways that I caused some chaos in my classroom over the last couple of years when I broke away from the traditional way that I was teaching, and I wanted students to be more involved, to be more actively learning, to be more social, even though at first that was uncomfortable because of the movement in the classroom, or it didn't feel as structured, for example, and I had to be very flexible. But it made a huge difference in the learning that was happening in my classroom. So focusing on the methods, and then find the tools that can enhance that or facilitate that, and in many cases, transform the learning. So I'll take you through some of the ideas here. And the best thing about this is that you can find the templates that you need to get started. which is awesome because we know that there's never enough time to do all the things. So when we can find a method, we can find a tool that enables us to provide these opportunities for our students, and of course, for us to learn right along with them, always learning from them, then it makes a difference. So a couple of the methods are HyperDocs, which you may have used, project-based learning, and escape rooms and scavenger hunts. And then looking at those skills that the students can build, tying it back to social emotional learning. So as an example with HyperDocs, for some of my students, when I used the HyperDocs, it was a little bit challenging because not knowing how much to work on. Does this all need to be done in this day? What do I create when I'm finished? What is the pacing? So it does help students to develop that self-awareness, because as they're working through it, they're learning about where they are, what they understand. They're setting some new goals. They're building confidence, the self-management, because it can be stressful when you're given something and you have to basically be more independent and self-direct and set your own goals. So HyperDocs are great for that. Project-based learning was something else I was a little bit off about. I was having my students do projects, but it was a very linear process. I thought that I was doing PBL, but I was just having them do a project. It's created. Okay, we move on to the next thing. But if you are doing truly authentic project-based learning, there are so many benefits for it. Of course, the independent learning, it's more authentic and meaningful for students, but tying it back to SEL, you can hit all 5 of those competencies when you are doing project-based learning. And having students create something using Genially to create and share what they've learned, there are so many templates that can really help them to capture what they've learned and put it into a very visual and visually engaging, I should say, format. Escape rooms and scavenger hunts, if anybody has ever done those, they might be stressful, but the best part about those, whether you're doing those as students, as teachers, as part of professional development, you're in the workplace and you do these there as well, or you can recommend this to your friends, it builds some of those skills that the employers are looking for, like the top skills of teamwork and resilience and problem solving. Of course, creativity falls into that as well. So there are a lot of choices that are involved in using some of these methods. And so one example is actually one that I created for a course that I was taking. And so I used the template. It was very easy to set up. I just changed my information. I added some links. And so the idea behind a HyperDoc, for example, is that you have everything linked right within that document or right within that space. And this is what you can use this for. So I can have different tasks, and I want students to work through these 6 different tasks, and they have the link. I could put links to videos. I can put links to activities. I can give them some prompts, some different information. You can add so much to it. But the best part about it, it is so visually engaging, and students understand how to work through that, just like you can see on my screen. So this was a really easy way for me to create an assignment that I had for a course that I was taking, and also a great way to teach others about the different tools that are out there. And so think about things that you do in your classroom. If you have students work on, maybe there's a hook to your lesson and they watch a video and they have some different activities to build their skills and then apply those skills, this will be perfect for doing that. For project-based learning, my students have any number of choices to share what they have learned. And that's part of the struggle that comes with it, is not knowing what that end product is going to be for them. And many will say, well, what am I supposed to create? And I always say to them, think about what you're learning. As you're learning, something will come to you. You might want to share percentages. Maybe you have some statistics and you want people to be able to look at the screen and really understand it quickly instead of going through a lot of text, for example. Maybe you have images. You want to use a timeline. As you can see from my example on the screen, all of that is possible. And the best part about this is the interactivity of it is creating it. So you have 100% and you have the breakdown. You can change the colors of it. Students really like creating with this. And for me as a teacher, being able to look at something they created and capture all of that in a way that's interesting to them, it meets their specific needs, it enables them to be creative. It can be challenging. And so they're dealing with some of the struggles of learning about technology. Digital citizenship, of course, is tied into that, because whatever they're creating, if they're using resources, and they have to make sure they properly cite those, but it makes it more engaging for them as they create it, but also for the students that are learning from them, and definitely for me as a teacher. So we've been learning about the Sustainable Development Goals, and students are picking topics that matter to them and then sharing what they're learning with everybody in the class. Using something like this, which a template as a language teacher, I teach students about art and Picasso. So you can have like this, the different periods, and they can link to videos, to anything that you want to, but it's easy for students to find. Instead of having a long list of different websites, they can have this one image, one presentation that they can go to and work through at their own pace as well, which, tying it back to social emotional learning, setting goals. So maybe in this example, they want to learn about Picasso and the blue period, and that's a lesson for a day. Do they need to be in the same classroom? No, because you can share this with them and they can work at it from wherever they are. So that's the beauty of using these different digital tools. Escape rooms and scavenger hunts. You may think, I don't have enough time to make that up. Well, the great news is you can have a fun one like this that I chose to pull in from the templates. And for my students, we've done a variety of different scavenger hunts and escape rooms. And there are so many benefits. Of course, for me, wanting them to learn the Spanish and apply those skills, but the collaboration that happens. And even better than that, students were asking me to create more. And I said, I don't know if I have enough time for that. So some of the students then made their own for their classmates. They came up with an idea. They designed the breakout in one case, an escape room in another. A scavenger hunt also was made. And that helped them to, one, learn about a different way of creating using a digital tool. But two, it helped them to create using the language in a way that met their interests, and maybe specifically like areas of the language or topics we were learning about that they wanted to learn more about and build their own skills. But in doing that, they created something that helped their students. And of course, then I was able to use that for other classes as we continued, with their permission, of course. But when they saw the value in what they created, it was purposeful, it was relevant, and then me using it for other classes, they felt really valued for that. So I appreciated that with them. Here's another example. You can have whatever prompt it is. So if you're teaching elementary school, you're teaching high school, maybe you're learning about a certain topic over history, for example. Or I have a friend who created this breakout for her ELA course. You have the prompts, you have the templates already available. You just need to change the text to make it relevant to what it is that you're teaching. And then everything is set up for you. So I love that it has the animations, you have the interactivity that you can use. You can record some audio instructions, you can have videos into it, which in this, I didn't play it for you, but in the first slide, I had myself introducing the session and myself and my contact information. And so this is already available for you. The only thing that I did was I added a couple of extra images to the background. So you can change anything that you want. And I love that whenever we create and use this as an example for our students, it is teaching them about a different digital tool, but then it's giving them more choices in what they do. So you want to maybe explain the tasks if you're using a breakout room or an escape, for example, and how it's going to benefit students in building content areas, skills, and that knowledge, but even more beyond that, those social emotional learning skills and skills that they need in the future. Because of course, they talk about SEL competency and its impact on future workplace success. And we are preparing students for the future. And these are the essential skills that they need. And of course, if they work through it, they have the missions, things are completed. So again, this is not something that you have to create. It's there for you. The only thing you have to do is come up with what is the mission that they're on, or what is the concept around which you've created an escape room, for example, or a scavenger hunt. And maybe depending on the age of your students, if you're working with teachers, ask them for some ideas. Maybe they want to create one, like was the case for me with my students. So those were some of the first methods. Now, here are some additional methods. And again, it doesn't take a lot of time to make these things up because you have all of these options within one space. And I think that's what led me more to focusing on the methods, because all of these different methods, the different activities that we use in our classrooms, we have so many choices available to us, but we don't want to overwhelm students. And we want to give them a lot of opportunities to build these skills in different ways that meet their interests and their needs, and of course, their comfort level too. And so focusing on the methods first, then once you know the method, what is the technology, if any, that you're going to use? And when you focus on those methods and find the tech, then you're going to transform the learning that happens in your classroom. So we covered the HyperDocs, the project-based learning, the escape rooms or breakouts or scavenger hunts. So here are three more ideas: choice boards, Genius Hour, and storytelling. Now, the first choice board that I made for my students, I used a piece of paper. I decided this, as with many of the other things I did in my classroom, very last minute. And I knew that things that I was doing, they weren't necessarily working that well, because I was noticing that the relationships between students could be improved, that me getting to know my students was something that I really wanted to focus on, giving more choices. And of course, again, like I mentioned earlier, learning Spanish, I want them to know Spanish. I want them to really love learning a language, because I love learning a language. I love teaching it, but I also want to provide them with different opportunities to build skills that can transfer to other areas, whether it's another class that they're taking, everyday life, or in the future. And so the first choice board I made, I got a piece of notebook paper, I drew the lines, I hand wrote the 9 different options, and I made copies. And when they came in, they thought we were playing tic-tac-toe. But I explained to them what the choice board was. And that, I think, is important as well, is we choose different methods for our students and we find these different tools, but we may not necessarily always tell them the why behind it. And that is something else that I started to do more of in my classroom. I explained to students, okay, we're going to do project-based learning. This is what it is. This is why we're doing this. These are some of the benefits. And then I asked them for their input too, as we work through it. And the same with choice boards. I explained why some of the options seem to be a little bit easier than some of the others. And I tied it back to Webb's depth of knowledge. And I had an image on my board in my classroom for students to understand that it wasn't going to be just like a simple recall. Here's the Spanish word, here's the English translation, or however you would apply that to your own classroom. But we're going to build the skills because I want you to learn it. I want you to, process that information and then apply it at a higher level. So choice boards were great for that. And it fosters student agency. It's more personalized because they have the choice. And then, of course, it does tie back to the social emotional learning skills, because it can be stressful to make that decision, to set those goals. Depending on the choices that you put into that choice board, students can build their social awareness. They're making the decisions. If they're working with a classmate, they're building relationships, of course. Another one is Genius Hour, which they get a chance to share their genius and explore something that's of interest to them. It's that power of choice. And as they're creating, they're dealing with that self-awareness, because where am I on the learning process? There's challenges that they experience and that struggle that comes with it. So self-management, if they're working and sharing ideas with their classmates, so they're building relationships, they're making the decisions, it is making a big impact for them. And then storytelling. And I made that just a very general kind of category. So if your students are reading a book, if they're learning about something in history, they are talking about different concepts in science or math or anything that you teach, and of course, in my case, Spanish, but having them narrate something or retell a story or explain something in their own words, maybe even at the start of the year, designing an about me, for example, to get to know their classmates, to get to know you as the teacher. As students, go through high school, they need to be able to share what they've learned. And so creating like a resume or digital portfolio, those are options. So the storytelling, I kind of included all of those different things. So I'll share some ideas with you and some examples that I've used in my classroom. Here's a choice board. All I did was find the template and I changed some of the different choices that are available for students. So start here. In some cases, you might want all students to start with that one right in the middle. It's something that they must do. And I just wrote, make a list of words. And there are other options. They can create games. They can make a video. They can come up with their own idea. They can write a story. But the best thing about this is all I had to do was find the template and change the choices and the options for students and then share it with them. You can even include links, whatever you want to do, but it's everything stored within one space, but it provides so much for the students. So that has been definitely an awesome option, I should say. And then the other one I mentioned is Genius Hour. Before, I said that I like for students to understand the why behind the methods that we're using in our classroom, a different digital tool that I'm trying, and I explain that to them. And so let's say that you decide you want to use Genius Hour. I did this with my students. I showed a video on project-based learning, on Genius Hour, and you can create a lesson and share this with your students. This is what Genius Hour is. You can have the video embedded in it. They can watch it. You can pose some questions for them. And then maybe that's the start for them to then design their own Genius Hour and use Genially as the way that they share that, because they have so many things that they can put into it. and of course, share it with their classmates and you, and design this public product to share. But it's awesome that you can just put the video right in. Maybe you want to record your own video, you want to add some audio, some instructions for students, but putting it all in one place where it's easily accessible for them to use that. And then you can always go back to it. And when students create and you have access to that, that makes a difference too, because they see how important that their learning is and that you value that. And then it's relevant to what they are interested in. And when they have, again, that power of choice, it makes a big difference for them. It's more authentic and meaningful. So here's an example. Let's say that a student decided that they wanted to focus on artificial intelligence, which is one of my favorite topics to teach about, to learn about, and to share. So for Genius Hour, maybe they come up with something on their own. They can use this template, and maybe they don't want to write a lot of text. They want to include a video, which I did, talking about what their idea is, what they're focusing on. And they can put a link to take you to more information if you want to find out about it. And then they can share what their idea is. Maybe they want to create a new computer. They want to make a humanoid, for example. My students are currently working on this, and I cannot wait to see what ideas they come up with. So then they can share some ideas with you, and images that I pulled right from within the library. So looking at digital citizenship, students don't necessarily have to go out to Google and find images. They can use all of the options that are available right here within Genially, which is great, and include links. They can record their voice. They can put funny animations, anything to make it more personalized for them. But again, it's great that we can say, hey, you know what, we're going to do project-based learning, or we're going to use Genius Hour. This is what it is. This is, what I hope that you get out of it, for example, because sharing the goals with our students is great for us too, and involving them in the feedback, because just as our students need feedback from us to continue the learning, we need it from them to continue our learning process, of course, and our growth as teachers as well. So I love that you have all of these different options. And so again, you have different possibilities. So maybe the hypothetical student that chose Genius Hour and wanted to focus on AI, went through and found some different examples. And then they create using their genius and share with everybody else what their design would be. And it's all available here, and they can present it to their classmates. And again, whether or not they're in the same physical space, because we can, if we're meeting through Zoom or we have Teams or something like that, but students are building a lot of skills. They're learning about the content that is being taught, but they're also given the opportunity to explore something that's of interest to them and then apply that in a way that's more meaningful and personalized. So maybe they want videos, they want to be on camera, they want to make those videos, they want to record their voice, they want to explore all the options that are available, but do it at their own pace and find things that meet their specific interests and their needs based on what they're doing. But there are so many possibilities available within this. And so that's what I love about it. So again, just to recap those, the methods first, the ones I mentioned earlier, the HyperDocs, the project-based learning, those escape rooms and scavenger hunts that you can do, but then the choice boards, the student agency, making it personalized. So think about things that you do in your classroom. If students complete different activities, maybe it's a game, maybe you give them materials and they come up with their own way to practice, but being able to store that all within one place, it's just a little bit more engaging for them. And in the process, it's helping them to build those digital skills. We want them to be digitally literate, be responsible in posting, to make those decisions. So it all ties back to a lot of things, actually, social emotional learning, but the skills that students need for the future. The Genius Hour, of course, and then now going on to storytelling. And so with my students, we have a lot of possibilities for talking about things like family, our school experience, our activities that we like, travel, depending on the level of Spanish. But my students in Spanish 3 write books. They learn about narrating about their childhood and writing in past tense. And so this gives them a great way to write a book. Or maybe you want students to create a digital portfolio. And after they learn about a certain topic or they finish a unit of study, for example, they can use this as a way to journal or capture that learning. Maybe they upload an image of something that they did, a project. They record their thoughts at that time. And so in that process, they are continuing to develop self-awareness. They're making those decisions. They're building relationships as they learn about one another. And if they're writing a story like this, for older students and even for younger students, creating something like an about me, whether it's the beginning of the school year, it's during the year. If you're working with older students, I know in some schools, students are working through programs that have them involved in mentoring programs, and they're preparing for their next steps after they leave high school. And they need to have something like a resume or a digital portfolio that they can then share for a potential employer, or they need it to apply for some type of a program, whether it could be a scholarship, it could be a college, it could be anything. And they need a way to share that information. And so for me, I created an about me. So you can have a very brief, paragraph about what you do, some more of your experience. You can have links, you can have social media links, you can have anything that you want. You can even embed a video, but this is just a template that I chose. And for students, sometimes, and even for adults, figuring out where to start can be challenging. Like there's so many choices, or I don't know how to start from scratch. And that's the beauty of it. You don't have to. You can search the terms, you can find something that's already there and just mix it up so that it meets, maybe it's a design style, maybe it's a preference that you have, maybe it's a certain color scheme that you want to use, but there's something there for everybody to use that's going to meet them where they are and also help them to kind of level up and build their skills in the process. And so these are just some of the many ways that I have used Genially in my classroom, and many ways and methods that you can use it as well. And I love quotes, and I'm always thinking about quotes, and I've included a lot of quotes in my writing, and I share quotes with students. But this is one that definitely resonates with me, that it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And when we think about learning and preparing students, and for example, project-based learning, having students do, the project, it ended, but we want them to appreciate that process of learning, all of the parts of it, the initial, like, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, and this is really difficult, or I'm not going to be able to figure out the answer, and the struggle that comes with it, but developing that awareness. And in the end, being able to look back and reflect upon where they've come from beginning through the middle to where they are now, and then deciding what their next steps are. And for students, for example, in my class that did project-based learning, they said, I stopped caring about the points. I just wanted to know where I was going to next. Was I going to work with my classmates? Was there something else that I could do? Could I solve this problem in another way? And so that is something that will help our students prepare for the future, is focusing on, like, what are you learning in the process? Mistakes will be made, of course, but there's still learning in those mistakes that we make. So I thank you for joining in my session today. And if you do have questions, you can connect with me on Twitter, on Instagram. It's rdene915. My blog site is listed there as well. You can connect with me and send me an email. Just add the Gmail to it. You can connect on LinkedIn or Facebook. And I would love to learn about your ideas, if you're using some of the methods, if you have some examples to share, especially for me as a language educator and also my 8th grade STEAM course, because that's how we continue to learn and to provide more for our students. And so I thank you for joining in today, and I'm thankful again to be part of this amazing EdFest with Genially, and I look forward to catching the other sessions and connecting with you all. Thanks, everybody.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay, that presentation filled me with a lot of hope for what's possible in the classroom.
Yes.
And I don't know about you, but I loved Rochelle's explanation of Genius Hour, Genially. And I also totally agree that
Pun
it's kind of
intended.
cheesy, but I liked it. I totally agree that we should be explaining the why of what we're doing with students.
Yeah, and every time I hear her speak, I think of, I don't even know if you'll be able to hear this. Things that make me go. Things that make me go. Because
Love it.
I just expands my thinking, my learning, and I go back and restart so many of my lessons. She's brilliant. I actually have a book of hers right now.
So thoughtful. Yeah.
I know. Just love her. Love her. She's
And
amazing.
speaking of things that make us go, Genially just launched a new feature, like today, complementary interactivities, which is a
People, you're
complicated
going
name,
to go nuts.
but when you see it, you're going to be like, oh, this is what we wanted. So I want to show you briefly how they work and explain what they are by taking you through the creation of an interactive image. And if you haven't created anything yet this EdFest and you've just been watching, this is a good moment to I was gonna put my thinking cap on. I won't. Put your thinking cap on, and to really start creating. You can follow along with me here as we check out. Love it, Erica the Viking. As we check out this new feature. So all you need to do to get here is to have a Genially account. You can have a free account. If you already have one, you just log in. If not, you're going to sign up. And once you're inside, we're going to click Create Genially.
I am so excited.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. I'm going to choose interactive image. I'm pumped. Okay, interactive image. We're going to hit create here. And here I can choose. I can watch a little video that explains how to make an interactive image. Super helpful if you haven't made one before. I can create one with something from my computer or device, or I can look at examples of interactive images and choose one of these as the foundation for my creation. I kind of like this one. I like these red pins. I like the font. I'm going to use this croissant recipe to make something that is very much not a croissant recipe.
Now I'm so hungry.
Does that make you hungry?
Croissant.
That croissant looks so good too. It's like honey drizzled.
Oh,
I thought there were
stop it.
tomatoes in there. They're
Stop
like
it.
oranges. I know. This is mean. Okay, we're inside our croissant recipe that will soon be something else. And we see these little blue dotted lines around the edge. That means that an element is locked. So when I see that and I want to change this background image, I'm going to unlock here to the left. And now I'm going to replace this image with something else. Let's go to Pixabay. I like their images. And let's go to Italia. How about Pompeii?
Wow.
Yeah, it's cool, right?
Yes.
Fascinated with the history here. Okay, I like this first photo. I'm gonna replace with this. And so voila, we are on our way. This is already looking a lot more relevant to what I'm going for. I'm gonna get rid of this weird circle thing that doesn't work with this new image. Let's replace croissant recipe. So hungry.
Yeah,
Oh man. Okay.
fabulous place to visit.
That makes me hungry. With
I traveled with
Italy.
40 students all through Italy. It was amazing. My cousins,
Wow. When was that?
gosh, I don't know how many years
That
ago
sounds
that was.
amazing.
It was up with people to people program. Yes,
Was
and
it?
my
I've
aunt and
always
uncle and my
wondered.
cousins live
That's
in
awesome.
Italy.
I've always wondered, is it stressful to take like a group of students out of the country? I feel like I'd be so stressed. That's an
It
experience I haven't
is.
had.
You don't sleep a lot. You don't sleep a lot for a couple weeks, but I've been to 15 countries with
Oh my
I'd rather
gosh.
travel with students though because they get so excited every day. And then I get so excited every day and everything is new and it's really fun, but it's
That's
exhausting.
awesome. Here, I'm going to put this title up here also in the top left corner. Now we have the title of our creation in there. And let's see, we're going to start with a traditional interactivity. So this is something you could have done yesterday. And then we're going to do something you can only do starting today. Okay. So, kill me. Looks so delicious. Okay. So we're going to delete what's inside of this window here. You can't get a foodie in these templates. It's very dangerous. Okay. I'm going to delete the content here. And I'm going to choose again. This is the add interactivity option. See the little hand clicker pointer thing. Okay, clicking here. And I'm going to choose a window. And inside my window, I'm going to add look, I have insert link, image, or video. We're going to do video, but I'm going to make this window a little smaller. Windows are really good for sort of medium to long amounts of content. So if I want a paragraph or more of text, I'm going to use a window instead of a tooltip, which is just a little like chat bubble that appears. That's good for something really short or a small GIF or something. Okay, grabbing my YouTube link here, taking it over, and I'm going to look for that insert video option, and I'm pasting it in. We've got our video. So this I could have done yesterday. It's kind of cool. It's how we're going to fill out part of our interactive image. But this
today, wait for it.
Dun, dun, dun. So complimentary. Okay, we're gonna get rid of the ingredients for the croissant dough. Oh, okay. Deleting. So bad. Okay. We're gonna put in a window here. Complimentary interactivities just means you can use more than one interactive option and apply more than one interactive option to the same element, which before you had to choose, and now you have a lot more options and a lot more combinations. I'm gonna make this also a medium window. Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
I'm going to grab a Google map here. Pompeii. Let's go to share. Instead of sending a link, we're going to embed a map. Here I got the iframe or HTML, giving the code. And we're going to stick it in, not in normal text view, because then I'm just going to have a bunch of weird text. I'm going to put it in code view over here. We're going to paste it in here. Clicking code view again to get it back in normal to see what happened. And now we have our map embedded. This is the new part. Now I can click over here to the left, add. I'm so excited. This is going to work really well for what you're doing also.
Yeah, it is.
Us at the start of EdFest, day 3. And so we're going to
A
add
big
audio.
reveal.
We're going to add audio, and I'm going to do my best not to record an audio about croissants. Okay, record. Let me think of something relevant for this. Okay, we're in Pompeii. All right, gotta get really quiet. Ready? We're gonna hear Erica laughing. It's okay. Okay.
Auntie, go ahead.
Ready? Okay. Welcome to Pompeii. Take a look around this map and reflect a little bit on what surprises you about the modern day layout of this area. Okay, and we're gonna stick this, click, accept, selected. We could change it here if we didn't like it. We're gonna go with it, hit save. And last thing, this icon doesn't look like a map icon to me, so I'm gonna replace it with, how about this one, like a location thing. What's great whenever you use replace instead of like deleting something and putting a new item in is it'll conserve a lot of the features of the original item. So see the color stayed true, has the same kind of animation, it has an animation entrance effect, which was already on there. Anyway, so it's great, saves you a lot of time.
Yeah.
And here we are. I'm gonna hit all set to publish this. We're gonna present it.
This is so
Fingers
cool.
crossed this all went well. We have our traditional interactivity video, the Lost City of Pompeii, and then we have what's new, the map.
Wow, that's so cool.
So many cool new possibilities.
Oh, that's so cool.
I love this for like exploring. You could do a giant map with this,
live, right? You just
and like a
can-
guided tour. Yeah, this
my
is great for
gosh.
virtual field trips also. So
Yeah, I know. My mind is
right.
spinning right now.
And here you can zoom around. This is obviously live. We can also get a satellite view.
Wow.
But the combined interactivities is what's really new here. So now you've
Yes.
seen it. You've seen our new
So-
feature. It's big.
It's really big because, like she said before, you could choose one, but now you can choose many. And you showed me another way the other day that
Exactly.
too. That was really cool. It was all kind of connected, and it was just, so.
I wonder if I
Nice job.
showed you the reveal interactivity. That's another new one. I highly suggest that everyone check out.
Somebody had mentioned it earlier too. It's so cool. I mean, it's exciting because these interactive images is something you don't see other places. So yay,
Awesome.
Genially.
Yeah,
Awesome.
reveal is also really nice, by the way, now that we're talking about reveal. Reveal is also really nice if you're giving a presentation live and you want to start revealing new points. That's what you want to use. Okay, another thing. After Dave Messer gave his explanation on the Google add-on on day 1, I got a lot of DMs on Twitter saying, we love the Google add-ons, but how does the Genially one work? And I realized, oh yeah, we just showed you a general, like, these are the add-ons, but what about the Genially add-on? So I asked Raquel Zurita, who's our training specialist, if she could take us through it, and she graciously agreed to do that in a really short and sweet session for us.
Yes, and I love the way you say her name. It's so cute. But make sure you stick around because sorry, I was looking at the chat box. Make sure you stick around to see and also get the goodies at the end of the day. We'll be sharing participation
certificates,
discount codes, and winners of today's prize draw.
Yes, we will. And now we can marvel at the
yes.
brilliance of our very own Raquel Zurita. Here we go.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Raquel Zurita. I am a Google Certified Trainer and Innovator, and I would like to thank you for being here with me today. In this short session, we will be demonstrating Genially's new Google Classroom add-on, what it is, how it works, its advantages and requirements. Let's go. For those of you that may not be familiar with Google Classroom, I'll give a brief overview. Classroom is an easy-to-use tool that is part of Google Workspace for Edu. And it works as a communication and sharing platform for teaching and learning. In Google Classroom, we can create announcements, assignments, questions, and a whole array of activities that our students can explore on the same platform. Some of its most interesting features include the ability to add a file directly from Drive for the whole class, or create a file for each student, evaluate the students' work and give personalized feedback on assignments, and plan and schedule tasks in advance. Classroom add-ons is a new feature developed to make the integration with some teaching and learning digital tools, including Genially, seamless. We have always been able to share lesson materials from Genially in Google Classroom, but thanks to the new add-on, this is now quicker and easier. So how does that work? To start with, the add-on must be set up by the school administrator. Once this is done, you will be able to sign in. Once the add-on is enabled, you will be able to add Genially directly to your publications, selecting them without leaving Classroom. At the same time, your students will be able to explore your creations without leaving the platform, changing tabs, or getting lost. The add-on is available for teaching and learning plans and above, and in order to share a creation, we must use the same account in Google Workspace as in Genially, be the owner of it, and it has to be publicly visible. Let's see how. So we are now in our class in Google Classroom. As we mentioned previously, the add-on will allow us to add our Genially creations, not only in our assignments or questions, but also in our announcements. So we are going to do that in the stream section. I'm going to go ahead and announce something to my class. By clicking, I will open the menu. First of all, I'm going to add the information I would like them to find. And now I can open the add-on in this icon at the bottom of the announcement menu. I'm going to find Genially. And what the add-on will allow me to do is to choose among all the creations I am the owner of and that have been published publicly. So in this case, I'm going to find the field trip information page. I've created this page so my students know everything about the field trip that is upcoming. I can check this creation here before I add it to the assignment, before I published it. So I make sure that all the links are working. And once I'm ready, I just need to go ahead and click on add to the assignment. And here we go. That's my announcement. The only thing left to do for me is to post it or schedule it for whenever I need it. So I'm going to post it directly. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some assignments and some resources to the classwork section of the class. I'm going to do the same. So I'm going to go and create. I'm going to find the material publication. I'm going to add my title. And as you see, the menu is slightly different in this section of the class. I'm going to find the add-ons in this menu on the right-hand side. So I'm going to go ahead, find Genially, find the creation I want to add. Again, I can check it here to make sure that is the correct one. I'm going to add it to the assignment. And I'm going to change or add anything that I need from my post. And I can, again, either post it directly or schedule it for any other time. I'm going to create a new question. It is a question about Genially, so I have created an escape room where I'm going to ask my students to explore and find the password at the end of the escape. I'm going to, again, click on the add-on, find my escape game. Again, I can check to make sure everything is working, and I'm going to add it to the assignment. There you go. So now I have my announcement in my stream. I have also my material and my question in the classwork section. We are going to have a quick look at what does the view for the students is like. I have access now to the class as a student to show you what the view will be. So in the stream, we have the announcement about the field trip. And as you see, I can open the Genially without having to leave the class. I can just go back directly on the same tab. If I were to go to the classwork, I got the question here. So if I click, I will be able to open the Genially directly and access the content and go back to the class on the same tab. And also open the materials that we have posted. I hope you find this session useful. Thank you so much for being here today. See you soon.
What a cutie. I said she was so good. Thank you, Raquel. That was so clear and concise and perfect. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Yeah.
I'm so sad. I can't believe this is coming to an end. What am I going to do without you?
I know.
Mm.
But
Howdy.
at least we're going out with a bang. And the party continues on Twitter because we'll be sharing EdFest moments and takeaways with you all. Plus, wait, we have some winners to announce.
Oh, that's right. We do. All right. Let's
Are you ready?
Let's see
I'm
who won
so
today.
excited. Who won on day 3 of EdFest?
Oh, I'm so excited.
Countdown. Okay, let's go.
We need a big song or something.
Okay. And the winners are bum, 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 bum,
the crowd goes wild.
3, 2, 1. Congrats to
Yay! Sorry.
Campus Coach and Susie Lawley. Congratulations.
Congrats, y'all.
You have won an Edu Pro plan with Genially. As always, I will send you a Twitter message, so keep your eyes peeled for those DM messages from moi about this. And yeah, congratulations. Whoa, 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 whoa.
That's great. I'm so excited.
No, I'm forgetting something. I was going to say, great things are coming now in the chat. Okay, so 1, get your participation certificate. That's going to be linked now in the chat. 2, discount code for 50% off an Edu Pro plan. So if you won, best day ever. If you didn't win, still a pretty good day. 50% off an Edu Pro plan. So pick that up. And number 3, we also have the link to officially register for the event, which will allow you to receive all of the presentations, resources, and videos of these last 3 days of the EdFest.
Make sure you do that.
Oh, and follow us on social media to make sure you get all of the updates post EdFest. There will also be some cool stuff over on Twitter. And yeah, I feel sad too. Erica, I had the best time ever co-hosting with you for this EdFest. Thank you so much for being you and for making this event as fun as it was and as prank-filled and magical with your socks. And thank you everyone who joined us for this awesome celebration because it wouldn't have been an event without you.
And I need to thank you from the bottom of my grateful heart.
But all gushy.
Eiley, I just think you're such an incredible soul and human being. And I'm so glad the world's getting to know you.
Wow.
You have such a gift. I'm going to cry. And your whole team, just this
Wasn't
company.
Expecting this.
amazing people behind it. And I'm so grateful that you saw something in me to bring me here for this event and help you co-host as well. I can't thank you enough. And I'm going to miss you so much.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. This was an emotional ending. I did not foresee to EdFest, but thank you so much for being with us for the last 3 days.
Yes.
And
thank you to all the presenters. Thank you to all the people in the chat and
everyone who has supported us for this big
friends
event.
I made and she made. And
yes,
you guys were awesome.
We will be seeing each other soon. Connect with us on Twitter. We are around. We are very around. We look forward to seeing you there.
Yes.
Hard to say goodbye, but I guess the moment has arrived.
I know.
Bye,
and go check out my YouTube. I have the doink thing I shared with you.
Go check out Erica's.
But anyway, go ahead. Sorry, you're saying goodbye. I just don't want to.
Bye. Bye.
That's a wrap.
Bye.
Bye. Ciao, ciao. Namaste.